Morning. What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Crypto Hour with Rodney and Jake G. Jake G's currently getting himself proper. He's in Brazil and he's a little sandy from the beach. Do me a favor, smash that like button before we get started. And today at 9 a.m., we'll be having a special guest on the stream to talk about V Empire Dida. And we'll be talking about Cookies Protocol, a little AMA at 9 a.m. So just be prepared for that. If you're watching this a little later, timestamps are in the description down below. Now, I mean, what's going on here in this bear market? I'm going to get to greeting the chat here in a second. What's going on here? Now, obviously, you saw the thumbnail, and it's a little bit of FUD, right? What is going on with these news publications that are supposed to be on the side of cryptocurrency? Because they sound like they're hit pieces to me. Now, obviously, we'll get into the Binance situation, but what's up with CoinDesk? CoinDesk, pretty much the biggest cryptocurrency publication in the space, but it seems like they're kind of turning into a CNN or a Bloomberg or something like that. That really is not in cryptocurrency, but talks about cryptocurrency and really focuses on the negative part of cryptocurrency. So we'll get into that here in a second. But first, let me say hi to the chat. Jake's coming a little later. And of course, at 9 a.m., we'll be joined by Dom. And a reminder, this month's stream is sponsored by Cookies Protocol and Voltinu. Links to everything is in the description down below. And of course, we'll be joined by Dom at 9 a.m. Again, timestamps will be in the description if you're watching this a little later. But good morning, fam. How you doing? What's up, Javi? What's up, Rick? What's up, Jayhawk? How y'all doing, baby? Javi, drinking that Javi coffee this morning. Fired up per usual. We have Rick. Good morning, Rick. How you doing, buddy? Jay Linda, good morning, good morning. I do taxes for free. Bernie, good morning, good morning. Renaissance Connect, good morning, good morning. Invisible Commander, what's up, Steve? How you doing? Sackle Hunt, speak to my manager. We got DNA. I can see your chat, buddy. You're good. We have Sirens, Brad. What's up, Slim Cheeses? How you doing? How you doing? We have Bud Yeti in the chat. What's up, baby? We have Al. How you doing, baby? Dylan. Twitch Radio, I did see your new Twitter account, so I do know that you have a new one. What's up, Andrew? Callum, what's up, Soap God? Crypto High, may you be well. James Minton, good morning, fam. How y'all doing? What's up, Dylan, the shilling cat token. All right, I'm about it. Give me the meme coin vibes. Howdy, neighbor. What's up, DJ and Renaissance? How y'all doing today? Do me a favor, smash that like button before we get started. And we're going to jump right into it. Let me go ahead and get my notebook and write down some of the timestamps. So it's going to be like, you know how we do on the Crypto Hour. A lot of chilling and those sorts of things. And then, of course, we'll get into some actual crypto news. And we'll have some talking points. But Crypto Hour is a little more chill, guys. A little less structured and kind of just a hangout session. But we have to talk about this because it's getting a little ridiculous. Okay, let's go over to this article here and talk about really like what's going on here, right? Okay, so it says Binance processed 346 million of Bitcoin trades for crypto exchange Blitz Lotto. Now, of course, Blitz Lotto was the whole situation that went down the other day with the Department of Justice, where they came out and pretty much said, hey, first of all, they scared the entire cryptocurrency market because we thought they were going after a large cryptocurrency entity in our space, maybe something like a Binance or something, right? Someone doing something very illegal. Turns out it was a cryptocurrency exchange that our entity that no one really knew about. Like no one knew the hell what Blitz Lotto was. Like literally no one. I was watching everyone on Twitter say, who the hell is this? And it dumped the cryptocurrency market massively. Now we have CoinDesk kind of linking transactions from Blitz Lotto to Binance, saying that pretty much, that Binance was helping them launder money, which is kind of crazy, right? Which is kind of crazy to me. And then we have another article saying that Binance mistakenly mixed crypto exchanges customer funds with B token collateral. Now, this article, in my opinion, is especially kind of heinous. Why? Well, what happened a few months ago, right? We had a third-party auditing group in Mazars who pretty much suspends all work with crypto clients, including Binance, Crypto.com, citing concerns over public perception of proof of reserves. And this comes after the downfall of FTX, right? Now, the thing is, proof of reserves, right? What are proof of reserves? Well, proof of reserves pretty much show how much, right? How much the cryptocurrency exchange has as backup. And having a third party group like Mazar's group say, who's not really into crypto, right? They're a neutral group that, the normies trust, right? They did a auditing for the Trump campaign, which they abruptly stopped for some reasons, but they're a third party trusted group. So them saying, you know what, we're not dealing with crypto really takes away more trust from cryptocurrency in general. So to me, this article, right, talking about how Binance mistakenly mixed crypto exchanges customer funds with B token collateral is especially heinous because it kind of hammers home the do not trust exchange kind of theory. Now, we'll read this article and get a little bit into the weeds of it. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. CoinDesk is owned by DCG, right? And DCG is in a little bit of trouble because of Genesis, right? And they need some money right now. And I've heard that CoinDesk is up for sale. So hopefully this doesn't turn into another mainstream news outlet. But first, let's get Jake in here. Let's greet Jake and send the crypto hour, baby.
Crypto
what is
hour,
up, Jake?
Hey,
what up, baby?
Sorry for being late, man. I'm running on Brazilian time, and
Jake
they
is tardy.
Differently here, but we made it. What's up to everybody in the chat? Crypto hour. I think it's number 16. I'm fired up to be here, man. I'm fired up to be here, Roddy. How you doing this morning?
Fantastic, man. Got the hoodie on. It's cold as hell down here, bro. I'm freezing.
Look, can you make it a little bit bigger, the screen? I want to show you how much darker it got, bro. It's been 90 degrees.
Yeah, I got you here.
I'm shades. Look at this. Like I was red. I went to the beach for 3 hours because we're used to the cold, right? It's like cloudy, overcast. I came down here 90 degrees and I missed the sun so much, but don't worry. It's summer here, it's winter there, and soon it will flip. But I'm enjoying it, man. Glad to see you on here and ready for another episode of the Crypto Hour. Let's send it.
Yeah, man. Okay, so the topic I'm talking about right now, and what do you think about all this FUD coming in cryptocurrency? Because CoinDesk, which is supposed to be a trusted cryptocurrency publication, has been really hammering home the FUD lately with Binance. And
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Who owns CoinDesk?
DCG.
Who owns CoinDesk? That's what I always want to know. It's like who owns these companies that's creating the FUD? Do we know who owns CoinDesk?
DCG.
Well, there you go. There you have it. Which is interesting. I mean, why are they trying to create FUD around Binance? DCG is in trouble right now as it is.
Yeah, 100%. If you just Google DCG, Jake, you can see that Genesis creditors filed securities lawsuit against Barry Silbert and DCG. So, I mean, there's all sorts, and they own the Grayscale, right? And so many different things in cryptocurrency. It's not looking good for them. And so I've heard on other crypto sources and outlets saying that maybe they could be up for sale. Who's going to buy CoinDesk? And is it going to be like which news publication is going to be, running CoinDesk? It's not going to be good for cryptocurrency because I'm seeing a lot of hit pieces.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that's the one thing in this crypto space is like we're all in this together. It's a small industry, and it's like also all of our money is in it, right? So it's like we should be rooting for the success of everybody. Like everybody should be winning here, especially if you're called CoinDesk, right? Like it's your coin. It's talking about coins. Like you shouldn't be trying to tear down competitors, but we don't know what's happening on the back end, right? We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. Like, did Binance have technically Binance caused this? Some would say that CZ Binance caused some of this FTX debacle, right? Because he put out that tweet. And then that DCG went insolvent because they had a lot of exposure to FTX. So it could be a shot at CZ Binance like, hey, fuck you. You guys are the ones that caused this whole thing by making that tweet saying you're going to sell your FTX. Like, we're going to try to take you down as well. So that just came to me right there, like a little theory of why they could be attacking them, because realistically, CZ is the straw that broke the camel's back with FTX.
100%, man. He was, right? He got the ball rolling. Now, this is an interesting article. So remember Mazar's group, the auditing company that pretty much said, you know what? We're not going to be doing any cryptocurrency audits because we don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So did you know these guys did audit for the Trump campaign and literally ceased the audits because I guess the Trump campaign wouldn't give them actual documents or something like that?
No, I didn't know that, but I know that what was it? It was crypto.com. I think it was Binance, and I think it was one other one, maybe KuCoin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they said, hey, yeah, we'll do your audits. We'll do the proof of reserves. And then they backed out. To me, what it feels like to me, and I don't know too much about Mazar's group, but it sounds like they're pretty much by the books, or they just don't want to get involved with these projects. It's like they don't want to get involved in the auditing of Binance and crypto.com when there's so many eyeballs on them. So I don't know, either they're soft and they pull out of these projects because they don't want the attention, the negative attention, or they see some shit and they're like, yo, we got to get out before we have to audit, these people.
Yeah. Imagine if they audit, they give a stamp of approval and then something happens and they're like, yeah,
Yeah, it's more pressure on them because they probably have a large book of business. And I think we talked about this, on a crypto hour in the past. I was like, they probably have a large book of business, and the risk and the eyeballs and the attention that comes with auditing Binance and crypto.com is probably not worth the headache, right? Like they probably have people that are not in the public spotlight that aren't high profile cases that they can audit and make a lot of money. So that's what I still honestly believe. It's like they're so high profile, they could make a mistake. It's bad for their brand, their image, that they're like, hey, we're already making, if we check Mazar's group revenue, they're probably making billions of dollars auditing smaller companies, that they don't need the pressure and the stakes of auditing these high profile cases. Could be a thing.
Dude, 100%. And what's interesting to me is that in the cryptocurrency space, which I understand where they're coming from, is that we know how many assets they have, because we can see, well, at least for crypto, we can see everything on the blockchain. But what are the liabilities? And a lot of that's kind of unknown, since a lot of these crypto companies are kind of operating out of different countries, like Singapore, and Binance is what is it? Dubai, right?
Dubai.
So, So, I mean, that's kind of interesting to me. It's like, well, how do we really know what the liabilities of a company are? Because it's like, yeah, you could have, $1 billion in assets, but if you have $2 billion in liability, well, then obviously you're down $1 billion,
Yeah. And that's why we need proof of reserves, right? We need to see what the assets are. We need to see what the liabilities are. It's kind of crazy that wasn't a thing before, right? I know exchanges are slowly rolling it out, but it's just because we're in such an infant industry. Like it's such a new industry. There was no regulation. And unfortunately for a lot of people, like I'm not against all regulation. I think that we do need some. I think that it will probably be good, but I do believe that regulation is a slippery slope. I know, Rodney, you're in favor of exchange regulation and stablecoin regulation. I think we need it as well. But once a government body like the US comes in and starts regulating exchanges and stablecoins, they're going to start regulating more things, right? And then they're going to regulate the meme coin space. Then they're going to regulate the DeFi space. It's like, it's a slippery slope, but that's why it is important to have the proof of reserves, assets, liabilities, because us as investors, we need to know if these companies, if they're safe, if they're trustworthy, if we can put our money on there.
Yeah, because what dude, 100%. And what we're finding out is when these guys go under, like shout out to Genesis, they owe a lot of people a lot of money, A
lot, man. Yeah. Like it's
so
in
sad.
What is it in? It's in the hundreds of millions, right? For at least Gemini. And then obviously Genesis owes multiple billions to creditors, It's just so insane to me to think that like these companies are able to lose out of thin air that much money because they're making high risk bets on cryptocurrency. Like they're losing billions of dollars. It's honestly, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. But sidebar, Jake, how's Brazil been, bro? I was supposed to go with Jake to Brazil to watch the UFC fights. Of course, we're sponsored by the same cryptocurrency product, Voltinu. Man, I was on my couch watching those fights, and it was electric. I couldn't imagine how it was in the arena.
Look, I've been to a lot of UFC fights, like very thankful to go to a lot. The Brazilian crowd is insane. They know how to chant. And honestly, it's absolutely insane because when the American fighters or anybody that's not Brazilian come out, they chant all together, "Ooh, va morrer. Ooh, va morrer." The whole arena chants that. And if there's some translators out there, it means you're going to die in Portuguese, which is like, imagine trying to fight in front of 40,000 Brazilians with a Brazilian killer trying to kill you, and they're all chanting, "You're going to die." I felt like I was in the Coliseum, but Brazil's amazing, man. I'll tell you what, like everybody said that it's very unsafe here. Everybody, they're like, be very careful. And I'm sure that there are areas that's unsafe, but my whole time here, we're staying in a nice area. And I felt very, very safe. And I'll tell you a story. I was going to talk about it on my stream last night. My buddy Pierce put me in touch with a guy. He lives in a favela. And last night at midnight, we went to the favela, bro.
Whoa.
We went to the favela in Brazil. We drove up the hills. And when you go in there, he's in the car. It was a taxi driver that he drives him a lot. You go in there, you have to turn on all the lights. It's like you're in the street, and you have to flash your lights to let them know you're coming. Turn on all the lights in the car. And he, my friend that lives in the favela, and he's a nice kid, like does very well. He likes to live there. There's a spotter, and he's like so nice. He's like, "Hey, obrigado," like saying something in Portuguese, and then that means you're cool. But we drove through the favela at midnight. Scary as fuck. A little bit scary, but also like just a cool experience. Like check it off the bucket list.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Crazy.
Dude, I'm so mad I kind of missed this one, but it's good to get back in my routine. It feels good to get back in like a routine and flow of things, since we've been kind of doing a lot last year, man. But I think this year is a perfect year to absolutely send it again. Man? I'm getting itchy.
This is
getting itchy.
I was gonna be like, yeah, maybe. No, you know what, man? Like this is as long as you're consistent at work. Like this is our job, right? I'm here in Brazil. It's 1 p.m. and I'm doing my job, right? I'm going to stream after this. I'm doing my job. And tomorrow, Rodney, I'm renting out a yacht. So I won't be able to stream. It's the Volted Wednesday live stream. I hit up Pablo and Power. Said, hey, can you come on? And we're going to do a stream at 3 p.m. So 10 a.m. PST. That's going to go live tomorrow. So I think I'm a big believer in like work hard, play hard, travel, enjoy life. Like we have a job and we're very grateful that we can travel the world. Like you have to take advantage of it, as long as you stay consistent. Like if you go on vacation, keep working, Our job is Twitter Spaces. We did one last night. Our job is to stream every day, be consistent. And I think that we're doing fine, So yeah, I agree. 2023 is still going to be a good year for us to have some fun.
Absolutely. Show up and show out. And I've been training a lot more. And let me tell you, I don't know if my coach is watching this, but this guy, Vince at Arena, this guy is an absolute ninja. This guy is an absolute knowledge, like just filled with so much kickboxing knowledge. And I'm so grateful to have him as my coach and just get in there every day and learn from a good guy. We're off topic here a little bit. But dude, that's awesome, man. And just happy to be alive, man. And yeah, you're right. If you're traveling, dude, show work, especially with a job like ours, you can work remotely,
I love it too, man. I love coming on here and streaming, seeing all the DJs in the chat, like everybody that supports me on my channel. It's fun, dude. So it's like I wouldn't miss it for the world. So yeah, that's where we're at. And tomorrow's my last day in Brazil, and then we're back home to America. I'm excited to be back, man. It's nice here, but it's like I want to speak English to people. It's nice to no one here speaks English. So great trip, ready to be back, and we'll see you first week in February.
Absolutely, home is home, baby. Nothing is like home, right? Okay. Shout out to Waterboy. If you guys have seen Waterboy, home is where you make it. I don't know if you ever seen that movie.
Yeah, I love Waterboy.
Was it, or it's Joe Dirt? I think it's Joe Dirt. Home is where you make it. Okay. Anyways, okay. So home is where you make it. Okay. So yeah. So these articles out of CoinDesk, it's not really good. I think it looks bad for the cryptocurrency space because, like this one, for example, remember the whole Blitz Lotto thing the other day, like that thing that no one really cared about, but affected the cryptocurrency market and dumped it. Now, CoinDesk is tying that with Binance, saying that they processed $346 million out of the alleged $1 billion that was kind of laundered and used for the dark web. Like, come on, man, Yeah.
Is that their fault? It's like anyone can open up a Binance account and put money through there, right? I know like now when money gets stolen, they try to they try to stop it and stop hack. Like if they recognize like a hacker has hacked money from an exchange or something, and they're trying to funnel it through Binance, they'll stop those funds, right? But yeah, Blitz Lotto, I mean, everybody thought they were reputable until what, 10 days ago, last week when the government made an announcement.
Yep.
I think it's another dude, but Binance is like, bro, it's like kick me while I'm down. Like everybody and their mother is going at Binance right now. It's hot. I think it sells. Even Joe Rogan's talking about CZ Binance and how they lost money. So it's what's hot. It's what's in. I think this article is a lot to do about nothing, if you're asking me.
100%. And this comes after Binance is making some pretty big W's while every other cryptocurrency exchange is cutting staff by 20%, which is, come on now, that's a lot of employees.
A lot.
They made a commitment to hire 30% more staff in 2023. How about that?
Rodney, this should be celebrated in the crypto space. Like it's disgusting that CoinDesk is trying to tear them down. This needs to be celebrated. They're the ones that are keeping this whole thing afloat. And I'm sure they had so many withdrawals in the multiple billions of dollars from their exchange. And guess what? They're still here. They're still expanding. So personally, I support Binance. I use Binance US to buy Bitcoin. I use Binance US to buy Ethereum because there's $0 trading fees. No one else does that. Coinbase offers you some sort of like subscription for $30 a month. It's $0 trading fees. So I'm a big fan of Binance. I'm a big fan of Binance US. I support them. I'm still trying to figure out CZ Binance, because that chess move that he made to crush FTX was pretty calculated, if you ask me.
Brutal, right? Like he was literally just one tweet. He's like, yep, all right, I'm going to end your whole career in one tweet.
How crazy, bro. Like from that one tweet, within 60 days, this man was in prison. Within 60 days, this man had the largest bail in U.S. history. It's like, that happened quick.
All right. So, Jake, we got to move on to some cap. We got to move on to some lies. Okay. I heard carefully on very many spaces that our boy, it's time to stop the cap. Our boy, SBF, only had $100,000 to his name. The lie detector test determined, well, that was a lie. Apparently, prosecutors seized $50 million from Sam Bankman-Fried's account at Farmington State Bank. Does this man does he ever stop lying?
Let me just put on my bullshit detector. No shit. even on the crypto hour before, I was saying, bro, everybody in crypto, most people that are watching this right now, you and I, we all have multiple wallets. You think that this guy didn't have multiple hardware wallets with multiple millions of dollars stashed in? They seized 50 million from a Farmington State Bank, which I think is that a US bank?
Yeah.
So he had 50 million liquid in a bank. Think about how much money this guy has in hardware wallets still that are hidden all throughout the world. Like this guy has probably still billions of dollars. And you know what? He didn't have to lie about that. He came out multiple times and said, I only have $100,000 to my name. You know what this does now for the population that's looking at him? I can't trust anything he says. You know, if he would have he didn't have to say anything about his money. I think it was almost like a pity case of, hey, I only have this much, feel bad for me. But man, just tell us you have billions of dollars. That's fine. But now we can't trust anything he says. If he's going to lie about something so small, you were a billionaire, you know, if he's going to lie about something so small, I don't trust anything he says, you know? So yeah, he's not to be trusted. And of course, this guy has 50 million in the bank. He's probably got a lot more money in those hardware wallets. I promise you that.
Dude, 100%. And there was a story yesterday. I got to find this story that the government, the DOJ, actually, they were able to recover about $700 million in assets. Now, we didn't know the breakdown, but we know that $450 million of those assets were the Robinhood shares, stocks that he had. And I think the Gary Wang or Huang had some of those too, but he had most of them. And we didn't know the breakdown, but it turns out, because I was giving them the benefit of the doubt yesterday. I'm like, okay, well, he said he had $100,000 of cash. The Department of Justice recovered $700 million. $450 million of that was, Robinhood shares. So the remaining, I went to public school, $250,000. Did some math in my head, but carry the 1, divide the 2, bring it down, long division. That was, first of all, fuck long division, right?
I don't think, dude.
Could you do an equation right now?
No, I can't at all, bro. Like, do you remember when teachers used to be like, "Don't use your calculator because you won't have that with you in real life"? It's like, bro, we have this
cap
all the time. It's like they got that one wrong, you know. But yeah, the whole public schooling system. We should do a podcast about that, about how just stupid it is. You know, like they don't teach you about any of the important stuff. They don't teach you about taxes. They don't teach you about building business. They don't teach you about anything that's important. It's like we need to redo marriage, raising a baby. It's like they don't teach you about anything in the public school system.
Emphasis on raising a baby. So here's the thing. Yeah, dude. So it's like, dude, it's like, bro, like we have calculated. That was I haven't thought about that, Jake, but I remember you're not gonna have it with you forever. It's like that's a lie.
Even flips to the side.
Yeah, it turns
like it flips. You can do it. Like what are all the equations on here, bro? It's like it flips.
Yeah, dude.
Like you got squared, you got more than you can do on a calculator. It's like, yeah. But no one can predict this stuff, right? Like we had a whole conversation about AI and chat GPT. It's like, no one could predict that. And bro, I'm telling you, like, think about that. That was only 10 years ago that I was in high school and teachers were saying that. Like, what's the next 10 years going to look like? Like with chat GPT and AI, it's going to be, I don't think we can predict where it's going.
It's going to be nuts, bro.
Are you ready?
Okay. I'm ready, bro. I'm trying to. Well, I'm not going back to school ever, but I hear college students are writing papers and stuff like that using AI and Chat GPT. Now, when you were in high school, I want to talk about this. Did you have those weirdos that have like the calculator watches? Was that a thing where you were
calculator watches?
Yeah, there was some shit when I was in high school. Like we had people who had calculator watches. Let me know in the chat. Did you guys have those same people that had those calculator watches in high school? I'm a little older, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, we had the nice ass, like thick calculators and you could play like some games on there every once in a while, which were just ass, but no, we didn't have any calculator watches that I can remember. No.
Yeah. Maybe those people in my school, like super weirdos, but still. Okay. So SBF, the breakdown of his money. So it's like 250 million of that. I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to get mad at him yet because he said he had $100,000 left in his bank to his name. So maybe the rest is just assets, like, cause it's $250 million. No. It turns out 50 million of that was cash. So obviously he's not hard on money. Well, maybe now since the government said, I'm going to need that back. You know what I mean?
He's going to jail regardless, prison, I think, for a long time. So
yeah.
And what's that? That's he had a $3.28 million DC mansion.
He just sold. He lists for sale.
Bro, he had so much money, man. Like it's insane how much money this company was spending and how much they were bringing in because he was going to DC to lobby, right? Like to lobby for crypto. And ultimately, instead of just getting an Airbnb or getting a a hotel. He's like, oh yeah, I'll just buy a condo right there in DC, 3.28 million. No problem. It's like, this guy had so much money.
Yeah, well, he had a guy who was very, very, I forgot what he did for the SEC, but that guy conveniently retired after a long career as soon as SBF got clapped. And this is after the news came out that SBF was whining and dining this guy. I did a story about it on the Coffee and Crypto a few weeks ago, but this guy was part of the SEC, and I forgot what he did. But I had to get back into that. But he was part of the SEC, and he went on like an extravagant dinner with SBF. What do you think they were talking about? Sports?
They were talking about crypto legislation, how much money I can put in your pocket. That's what they were asking. I have a question though, right here, the bottom right-hand corner, the trending hashtag Richard Hart is win. Richard Hart win. Do you think that's actually trending, or do you think that's a paid for slot?
Paid, 100% paid. Yeah.
And with MOAS, I think that's like an old cryptocurrency project.
Yeah.
A lot of these are paid for slots, but Richard Hart, interesting guy. I saw that. I wanted to point it out because some are actually trending. I mean, he has a cult like following like I've never seen. Oh my
God,
before,
it's an actual cult. They think he's like God.
Yeah, I mean, but
they think he's like Jesus.
You know what? He's got all of the characteristics of like a good cult leader. And I'm not calling him a cult leader. I'm just saying like he's inspiring, he's charming, he repeats the same things that save people. You know, he's trying to save you from the cryptocurrency world. And you know what else is true though? He's right a lot, and that happens with cult leaders.
He wasn't right about a lot of stuff. Don't get me started, Jake. Don't get me started on Richard Hart. Okay, don't get me started on that, man. He's one of those guys who's like super knowledgeable, very smart, but then he said some outrageous shit that I don't agree with, and he's not always right. If he was right all the time, we would have PulseX right now, because we were supposed to be ETH 2.0 to market. If we knew this was going to be the bottom, right? If we knew, hey, call the tops and bottom, and we knew that, you know, PulseX was going to be ETH 2.0 to market, why would we say that? You know what I mean? It didn't happen. We're still waiting for it. Yeah, well, he doesn't think the bottom's in. He says 11K and pray, so he doesn't think that the bottom is in yet. I don't either. I think the bottom is not in either. If we go to 11, I mean, dude, how nice has it been though the past couple of days just to see some green, right? It's been nice. It might go back down, and I'm sure everybody's in here as well. It's like you probably own cryptocurrency if you're in this chat, and you saw some sort of relief, like you saw your account go up a little bit. It's like it's nice, man. And it's nice, and I always say this because I know it could get hard during these times. I know it's pretty depressing times in crypto, but if you're in this stream and you're in crypto, and you're investing and you're dollar cost averaging and you're buying crypto as much as you can, or even if you're just holding, there will be better days. Stay patient. I do believe that crypto and blockchain technology is the future. Yeah, we do. Me 100%. And just for people in the chat, understand, I have a bag of Pulse. Of Hex that's been staked for 2 years, and I've sacrificed. Okay, so sacrifice. Oh, Lord and Savior Richard Hart. I've sacrificed to the cause. You know, so I'm in the Hex ecosystem, okay? I'm just saying, and I really do like, first of all, Richard Hart's debate with Bitcoin maxis because it's highly entertaining. He's right a lot, and I do respect he's very knowledgeable when it comes to cryptocurrency, way more knowledgeable than a lot of people out there. It's just the other stuff I don't like. So that you know, that's just my thing. So people have to relax. I'm not a hater. I just not a nut hugger as well. Yeah, dude, 100%, Jake. And here's the thing: if you're betting on the future of cryptocurrency, which a lot of us are, and you're buying Bitcoin because there's a lot of things you can buy and it may never go up again, right? Then you're betting on a Bitcoin that's worth more than 20K. So if your dollar cost averaging a Bitcoin right now, and yes, you missed the actual bottom, which maybe could be 11K, and it surpasses $69,000, well then, at its all-time high, right? Well then you're still winning. You're just not going to maximize your gains. And that's why you like the dollar cost average slowly over time. Jake, what have you been buying in this bear market? Look, I've been sticking pretty true to my roots. You know, it's like I've been dollar cost averaging every day into my top tokens: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. I kind of took a break from Solana. I was buying a lot of Solana, but it's recovering nicely. I'm still holding a generous bag of Solana. And also every once in a while putting money into like my favorite meme coin blue chips, like Volt Inu, like Colt DAO, right? And VEMP AMA, who you're going to have on here. I think everybody that's in the chat, when Dom comes on, your mind's going to be blown. He's probably one of the smartest guys when it comes to macroeconomics. You're a good one, but that's what I've been buying. And I do it the same amount every single day. I don't even look at it. It's just through Coinbase, X amount every day into each token. That way, that's how you win. And obviously when dips like the 15.5 and the 16,000 Bitcoins come, you buy more, right? But it's like, I've just found that to be the best way to invest. That's what most people who are pretty successful say. It's like, don't try to time the market. Just dollar cost average in every day, because you don't know when the bottom's coming. You don't know when the top's coming, right? So dollar cost average in the tokens that you really like. For me, it's Bitcoin. Ethereum is my largest holding. It's one that I'm most bullish on.
And layer ones had a huge run from 2017 to 2021. I think they're gonna have a bigger run in the next bull cycle. So yeah, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, XRP, Volt Inu, and Cold DAO. That's like a different strategy that I have. A little bit every day, man. It's what keeps the doctor away. And I think it's the least way to or like the most way to not emotionally invest, because like that's where people get lost, is like they put in $5,000 because they think the bottom is in and it goes down lower. It's like, I don't like that. I have enough stress in my life and enough worries. Like I don't need to worry about my crypto. I believe in crypto. I know it's going to go up. So I try to take the emotion out of it, the risk out of it. Just dollar cost average into your favorite tokens. Don't look at it. Once you have a certain amount, take it off of the exchange, put it into your hardware wallet. Life is good.
100%, Jake. And I want to emphasize something, and I'm gonna give my my 2 cents here in a second too. And shout out to Dom, very knowledgeable. It's gonna be a pleasure having him on at 9 a.m. But Jake, I mean, look at are we experts? Are we fortune tellers?
No, not at all.
We don't fucking know. But what does our best knowledge tell us? Well, hey man, there are some plays that are probably better than others, right? And I have different picks as you, and some of the same picks as you. Shout out to Volt Inu, right? A meme coin that I really respect in this space. And let me tell you, altcoins are the one you make the most money in, but no one can predict the future. And that's why it's good to put money into products that have been around for a while, that have stood the test of time, right? Like Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP or Uniswap token. Shout out to those guys. They're making big moves. And many, many more, right? Or Matic, Polygon, and those sorts of things. But, there are also very, very strong plays that are strong projects that have developers that have been putting in work in the bear market, like Volt, right? Like WagMe, right? Those small caps that could really blow up and give you insane returns during a bull run that we look at. But the important thing to know is that we're not experts. We can't tell the future, but that's how we're doing it,
That's our strategy. And we don't try to I think technical analysis does work on larger cap tokens, on the market in general, right? Like on Bitcoin, like it's such a large market cap that you can probably predict where it's going based off certain news, the Fed, things like that. But I don't really think that technical analysis really works when it comes to meme coins. I'm sure you can see where the chart's going to be going. You can kind of predict it, but what I've seen with certain meme coins since I've been covering the space for a while, it's like, and I follow a lot of people on YouTube. Like I might not go in their stream and comment and stuff, but I'll hear what they're saying just to say, hey, like, can I follow this guy for financial information or not? A lot of the people that are talking about it are usually wrong, right? But the time cycle moves so quick that you kind of forget about it. But it's not their fault, because in the meme coin space, Rodney, right now you could pull up the Volt Inu chart if you wanted, and it's at a certain market cap, and a whale could come in. He's watching our stream right now, and he could say, dude, I like what these guys are saying. I'm going to put 60K in Volt. And the next thing you know, it's up 50% of the day. And then more people are like, oh, it's up 50% of the day. Let me either take profits or let me buy more. So the meme coin space is like, it's highly speculative. I don't personally believe that TA works in the meme coin space. What are you thinking? Also, what does the chat think? Like, am I off on that? Like, chat, let us know. Do you think that technical analysis works in this meme coin space, or do you think it's kind of BS for the most part? And Rodney, what do you think about it?
It could go up. It could go down. I don't know. Maybe if this thing does this, then this thing does this. If this confirms this on the 200 MA, this does this. But Jake, you want to know the most important TA, guys? And get ready, guys. If you guys are here, I'm about to bless you. What's the best TA you've ever had in your life? Okay, this is the best TA, and you know what? I'm going to do this for free. And we call that.
Can I join your Patreon though?
The happy face, baby.
Hey,
everybody, take notes. Take out your pen and paper. The happy face right there. Let me tell you, once you turn this frown upside down, which I forgot how to do that. How do I fucking do this? This is what you don't want. This means bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Pretty much worst case right there, though. Like that's bad case one. But show them this at the TA. Show them the TA. Yeah, show them if the big buys come in and the price and there's a green candle. This is what you want. If there's a green candle and the
boom, baby,
boom, that's what you guys want, right? That's what we want.
That's what we want. Yeah,
double green.
Double green.
We want the quadruple green up.
The old double green theory, like that.
Yeah. And me and Ronnie, like we make jokes about it because it's funny, but at the same time, it's like most people don't know where the market's going. You just got to find a plan that works for you. Like we've both found our plan. It's tested in crypto. It's tested in the traditional stock market. Like timing the market usually gets you hurt. Chasing green candles or red candles usually gets you hurt. Staying consistent and dollar cost averaging is usually how you win. And I think what I'm going to implement too on my, when we do hit the next cycle, which I think we will, is dollar cost averaging out as well. and instead of trying to time the tippity top, it's like, because it doesn't make sense to dollar cost average at the bottom and just try to sell at the top. Like, you probably get wrecked at the top because you're going to miss it or sell too early. It's like, hey, have a plan. So I've been dollar cost averaging it every day. I don't think I'm going to dollar cost average and sell every day out, but I will probably have a plan and sell small portions, to make sure I do get as much as possible during the next cycle.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to dollar cost average in a bear market. And when it comes to these small caps or just lower caps, right, or mid cap, whatever, like one big buy or one big sell could really affect the chart. And what do whales do in anything, right? They affect our emotions more than anything. You see a large red candle down, a large green candle up, we get FOMO, or we just freak out and we want to sell or we want to buy more, right? So whales, they have an effect on it, especially a small cap chart that affects a lot of people's emotions, right? Where you don't get that kind of stuff with Bitcoin or a bigger cap.
Yes. That's exactly why I say like TA doesn't necessarily work, because you could have a whale come in, and we've seen it a lot. Like they put in $60,000, $80,000. Crypto Twitter goes insane. More people see crypto Twitter going insane. More buys come in because people are like, oh, I can't miss this hype. So it's just, that's why TA in the meme coin space, I personally believe, is overrated. But I do think because I've been following, people like Blockchain Backer that talks about XRP and Bitcoin, like their predictions are pretty accurate in the broader market.
100%, Jake. Now, I want to get back to the topic of regulation, because I think this is very, very interesting. Now, I just saw an article come out today that talked about this. It says, North Korea linked hackers behind $100 million crypto heist, FBI says. Now, this is going back to a crypto heist that happened, I believe, like 6 or 7 months ago, right? It was called the attack on the so-called Horizon Bridge in 2022. And there was also an attack on the Ronin Bridge, which is popular for Axie Infinity, right?
Yep.
Hundreds of millions of dollars stolen. Now, I'm not going to read this whole article, but it was linked back to the Lazarus Group, which is a North Korean hacker group. Now, of course, North Korea is the enemy, right? We know that. They are not our friends, right? And of course, allegedly, and if you look at documentaries of North Korea and stuff like that, a lot of the money they make to like really pump their economy up is doing shady shit, because aside from, the really, really rich, a lot of the country is extremely poor and dominated by a dictator. Now, of course, we don't like that here. Shout out freedom, bald eagle, baby, freedom bombs,
let's go, baby.
Red, white, and blue, baby. Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah, brother. Okay. But the reason I think this is interesting is that one of the big things that happened because of this was the termination of Tornado Cash, because apparently North Korea was using this mixing service to wash the money. And so we got rid of Tornado Cash. And here's the thing, Jake, what do you think? Do you think the U.S. government, A, got rid of Tornado Cash because of North Korean hackers, or B, they don't want Americans being able to hide their crypto investments and the money they made?
Look, I like privacy transactions, right? Because this is what happens in the real world, right? Like, Rodney, if you send me money through Zelle on Chase, the whole world can't go see it. I also like the fact that you can see it because it keeps people honest. It keeps people transparent. I like the blockchain, but I personally believe that you should have the ability to have privacy transactions, which Cult DAO is building the modulus blockchain, and they have the option to opt in or opt out of privacy transactions, which I think is very cool. It's a ZK knowledge blockchain, so you can opt in or opt out, which I think is cool, because some people are private. They don't want you to see what's happening with your money. So I'm a fan of privacy transactions. But to answer your question, I think it's a little bit of both. I think what the U.S. government did was they said, hey, one person or one group of people, North Korea, use this Tornado Cash blockchain in a malicious way. We're going to ban it all. And I think that also does take away the fact that people were probably using it to launder money and to do sketchy things. So ultimately, it's just what happens. A few people do some bad things and they ban it all. But I'm sure people were using Tornado Cash for good reasons, right? Like, not everybody on there was using it for sketchy stuff. Some people were probably using it just to have random people online not track their wallets. Like, we have people online that stalk us and track us and do crazy shit. So I would use it if it was still available, right? And it's not that I'm doing anything sketchy. It's just that, like, you have crazy people online that and I've had people online, Rodney, that have been like posted some dumb shit like, here's Jake Gagan's wallets. It was 4 wallets. And I was like, okay, let's see. I click on them. None of them were mine. None of them were mine. And it doesn't even take a genius to find out. Like, two of them were sending money to a deployer wallet. It's like, first off, why would I ever send money to a deployer wallet of a token, right? So yeah, I mean, I think privacy transactions are good. But ultimately, just like anything else, right? The war on drugs, the war on guns, gangs. It's like a few bad people are doing sketchy stuff and the government just shuts it all down.
Yeah, dude, 100%. And this is an interesting part of this article. It says the U.S. Treasury quoted a much higher figure for Tornado Cash and said it's been used to launder more than $7 billion worth of virtual currency since it launched in 2019. That figure refers to the total value of crypto assets that have been sent through Tornado Cash. So yeah, exactly. So
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
$7 billion laundered.
Yeah, but you're so right, and it's hard for me to tell because here's the thing, guys. The U.S. wants their fair share, right, of the money you make on when it comes to some of your cryptocurrency gains, or maybe some of the shady shit that people could be doing inside the United States with cryptocurrency. And look, you are out of your mind if you do not think the U.S. government is watching closely when it comes to some of your cryptocurrency transactions or just stuff in the background. They are really trying to figure this out, get a hold on it. So make sure you do your due diligence and make sure you pay your fair share of taxes when it comes to, when it comes to, all your cryptocurrency transactions. Now, what's interesting to me, Jake, is that their developer, Alex Pertskis, to remain in jail until at least late February. So a Russian national living in the Netherlands, of course, he was a developer, has been accused of facilitating money laundering by developing a now sanctioned app. So apparently he had ties to Russia. So very, very interesting. Do you think this is legit? What do you think? Do you think this is just, a reason? Or...
This is great because how did we start the article? How did we start the show? We started by saying CoinDesk is writing FUD pieces. Who wrote this article? Who wrote this article, Rodney?
In November, though, before Genesis went down. So maybe they were less hard on money.
Maybe. No, I just thought it was funny that we're pulling them back up. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good reason to shut them down. Like there's the world is essentially in a war with Russia right now. And it's like if they were the ones that are laundering all this money. But I get it, man. I think the US is like, they're being good with crypto. I think the US is pro crypto. But dude, we're giving them every reason in the world to come in and regulate us. Like we're fucking it up for ourselves. Like SBF, Alex Mashinsky, Celsius, Voyager, Do Kwon, and Luna. It's like you have to have some sort of regulation in that. Like if I was in charge, I would be like, if I was in charge of the SEC, I would say we have to regulate this. This is getting out of hand. So ultimately, I think that if $7 billion is being laundered, of course the US is going to say, yo, that's a lot of money that could be going to us by people that are going to pay their fair share in taxes. So I see both sides. I see why people are pissed off. I'm not happy about it. Like I just said at the beginning, I like privacy transactions, but I mean, if you're using it to launder money, of course the government's going to have an issue with that.
Yeah, 100%. And it's 100% correct what Jake is saying. Now, what surprised me is that during I could say beginning of the last year, a lot of people predicted the economy to slowly slip into some sort of, slowly like get worse because of all the money reprinted. A lot of people that, shout out to Bernie and other people that were in crypto said, hey, man, I'm out of crypto till 2023 because this year is going to be bad, as in 2022. But a lot of these cryptocurrency people who ran these big things like Theros Capital or Do Kwon, and Terra Luna, Terraform Labs, and Voyager and Celsius, of course, they were all over leveraged and those sorts of things. And that's all fine when there's a lot of money in the market. But once money starts to seep out of the market, well, then people get exposed. And what's interesting to me is that a lot of these guys thought crypto was just going to go on a super cycle forever, or maybe they wouldn't be exposed. But obviously, a lot of them were exposed. And unfortunately, a lot of casualties, most of the casualties, were regular everyday investors that put a little bit of their money or sometimes their life savings into these exchanges and trusted them, who are now feeling the effect of it. Now, of course, the U.S. government, all governments are looking at that and saying, yeah, you cannot do that. So very, very interesting, right? Of course, they're going to come in and regulate things.
I mean, $7 billion in money laundering is a massive amount, right? I wonder what the actual amount is for people in the real world. But, especially with these privacy transactions, it's like you get paid in cash. You probably convert. You probably have a ton of crypto. You send that crypto out, right? You're like, it's an easier way because like in the real world, people have to, like the biggest money laundering business is like car washes, right? Like any cash business is a good way to launder money. But like in crypto, it's like you have crypto, you can just send it out through Tornado Cash. They can't track it. So yeah, I think that we are giving the government reasons to regulate, and I would be in favor of regulation if it was just for exchanges and stablecoins, like you said, to make sure that stablecoins are backed by what they actually say they are. But we all know as soon as the government steps in, Rodney, they're not going to slow down. Because they're going to look at the DeFi space and say, what the hell is going on here, right? like 90% of these tokens are scams. And then they're going to look at NFTs and say, it's going to continue on. So that's why I'm for a governing body. I really am. I think that we need to have a self-appointed governing body of people made up like CZ Binance, Brian Armstrong, people that are voted on by the community. Like crypto itself needs to be a DAO, right? As a collective, rather than letting the government come in. But we'll see what happens, man. Regardless, I think that crypto and blockchain technology is going to change the world with regulation or not. So we shall see what happens.
100%. I just read this comment by Jesse Jeff saying, if Binance goes, Bitcoin will dip so hard and they'll have a chance to dominate with CBDC. You are helping them by spreading nonsense. Wake up. Now, here's the thing, Jess. If you missed part of the show, we're actually defending Binance. Of course, the thumbnail got you in here, but we're defending Binance, calling out CoinDesk, just pretty much putting out these crazy hit piece articles, which is ridiculous because we need them to help cryptocurrency. We don't need them to be another CNN. So maybe you missed part of the show. But speaking of CBDCs and government control, Jake, I think the government see cryptocurrency and they're like, whoa, hey, slow down. All right, kids, we got our own crypto called CBDCs. You know what I mean? Like, no, you don't need Bitcoin. Use our central bank digital currencies, which I don't think anybody needs, because once that's complete control. If all our money just was government controlled CBDCs, no cash or anything else, like, dude, what happens? You know?
Never. That's the end. If America does that, I'm moving out. I will move out. Because that's the beginning of the end, because we saw what happened online when people talked out about the narrative, right? Talked against the narrative. People were saying that, I don't even want to say the words on YouTube, because you might even get censored for that, right? But let's just talk about censorship. Like, you spoke out against the narrative, you got censored. The same thing will happen with your money. You speak out against the narrative and what they're trying to push, your money's going to get docked. You commit a crime, you go to jail, you come out, your money's going to get docked. You can't access your money. That's when you lose all freedom, right? That's when it's no longer a democracy. You're living in a prison, right? You lose all freedom because your spending is based on what the government thinks of you. And it's not something I'm for. So Rodney, if that ever happens, if we do get CBDCs and we're forced to use those and they somehow come out and blacklist USDT and BUSD and USDC, we're out of here, baby. We're moving to Thailand. We're moving to Bali. We're not going to be a part of that.
Let's go, baby. 100%. And shout out to Javi and Steve, the Canadian. 173, 183 people watching, but we only have 70 likes. Let's get those likes up to 100, baby. Let's pack the house. Jake, but check this out. This was a glimmer of hope to me. Check this out. The other day, I saw this article, and I was just like, yes. National Australia Bank to launch stablecoin. Hold up. Not a CBDC, but on Ethereum and Algorand. So Australia is like, okay, well, here's a stablecoin, but we want to launch it on an actual DeFi network. Very interesting. So no CBDC. Australia looking kind of base, except for their gun laws. Australia kind of base right now, right?
I like it. I think it's better. You know, it just depends on. For me, it's like the control of it, right? Like how are the assets backed? Are they backed by the dollar? It's like just the control of it would be interesting. Like, you would need someone like Skywalker to go in and break down the tokenomics there, but. Launching it on Ethereum is much better than launching your own CBDC. It's like it's launched on a network that we all use, and it's actually a bullish case for crypto. Like the fact that they put that article out there is a bullish case for crypto. They're launching it on Ethereum. So yeah, we're in a really cool space, especially as like content creators. We're in a cool time because we're going to be able to cover this from literally, and all of our videos stay online. Like it's going to be from 2023 and earlier for us, like 2022, 2021, for 10 years. Like while all this regulation happens, like while everything works itself out. And I don't think it's going to be smooth and perfect the whole way. Like there will probably be mistakes and bumps along the way, but it's going to be a cool ride to see just how much adoption there is, you know, how many countries come out. And I'm in Brazil right now. Like the dollar here, the real is so low. It's 5-to-1, right? The American dollar. So it's like you can go out and have the nicest dinner with 3 people for like $50, right? So and Argentina, the inflation's over 99%, I believe, 99%. Which is, it's mind blowing. So like it makes sense for these countries to maybe adopt and accept some Bitcoin, because most currencies fail. Most currencies in the history of the world crash and burn, right? So it does make sense that you adopt something that is deflationary, right? That only has a certain supply, that ultimately could probably do your country good. So I'm bullish on countries that accept Bitcoin, like El Salvador. I think that they're going to be a powerhouse in the future.
Yeah, 100%. And dude, 100. Okay, so when we look at okay, here's the argument, right? Because what we did see, so it's like, do we have stable coins? Do we have different currencies, or do we just switch to Bitcoin, right? Because what I did see, and which kind of worries me, is that there was a big Binance hack maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I think, where a bridge was exploited, and they were able to mint 500 million BUSD, which is $500 million poof out of thin air, which is equivalent to like a government printing about a bunch of money. Now, of course, they could burn it in those sorts of things, but is that an issue if it could be exploited? You know, now when you compare that to Bitcoin, and if you look at Bitcoin right here, Bitcoin is finite. You can't make more of it. 21 million is the cap, and the last one's supposed to be mined is 2140. So it's like, do we use Bitcoin? Do we use, maybe cryptocurrencies that are created by governments? Can you exploit them and mint them? That's a very interesting argument to me.
I mean, when you're looking at Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin is technically the only cryptocurrency, according to the SEC, that's not a security, right?
Yeah.
And most of these cryptocurrencies, by definition of a security, are securities.
Yeah, 100%, right?
They're all secure. They're not commodities. Like they're not like this water bottle or a banana. Like it's not a commodity, right? It's not something you trade. Like it's something that is created, purchased, and sold for higher prices. Like it's a security. So, but by the definition of Gary Gensler, who's, they're pretty much on the cases in crypto. It's like they're pretty pro Bitcoin. So will Bitcoin be the currency? It is a store of value. I think that Bitcoin could potentially be a currency for a lot of these countries. I mean, over I don't see Ethereum or XRP or any of these tokens actually being currencies. I think they're going to be adopted. I think like the Ethereum blockchain will be adopted, which means Ethereum will be adopted by countries. But for an actual currency, I think that Bitcoin is probably a good solution. And obviously it's very volatile right now. Like no country can adopt a currency where it's $69,000 and then a year later it's 20,000. It needs to find some sort of a stable ground. I think that comes as more people adopt it, more people buy it, more Bitcoin is mined. I think that's what will eventually happen.
Yeah, cryptocurrency is kind of weird because it's being treated as a tech stock, and you could make the argument that a lot of cryptocurrency, like you said, could be treated as actual stocks because, look, here's the fucking thing, right? If you're issuing unregistered securities, you know what I mean, and to get for the customer to get to expect some sort of return on their investment back, it's like an initial, it's like an IPO, right? That's what an ICO is, and so. To me, it's like when you're doing these pre-sales and these sorts of things, to me, it counts. Like it only makes sense to me. And when you think of things like Bitcoin or maybe even Dogecoin, who's strictly just a store of value, right? That's all that they're actual cryptocurrency. That's it. They're not like shares in a company. Well, then it's like, well, yeah, the SEC has a case. And I mean, how many pre-sales have we've known or been involved in or seen? It's like, to me, it's like a company going public maybe and, saying, hey, buy our coin, buy our stock. And then later down the road, you can get a return on your investment. That's what it seems like to me. I think there's a good argument for that.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's like, but there's no regulation right now in terms of this. But we are seeing the SEC go after crypto projects that are not registering as securities. So there is regulation. There is regulation right now. Like we're seeing that every day. Like they're saying, hey, multiple exchanges, multiple tokens that are pretty big and prominent. They're going after the big dogs right now, but it's like, hey, this token didn't register us. Now they are just settling in court, right? They have to pay a massive fine, but it's like they are going after tokens that are securities that are not registering as securities. And man, like a lot of the tokens, I would say pretty much every token, like not every, but a lot, 95% or more are probably securities that aren't registering right now. So as token developers, they should probably do so.
Dude, 100%. I think it only makes sense in my opinion. I mean, I'm not trying to be with the man and stuff like that. But I think the only thing that's really classifying all these things as securities is the fact that it's not really specifically naming cryptocurrency in that rule, right? What a security and what a commodity is. So we'll see, but there needs to be some clear-cut laws and rules and regulations that say, hey, crypto is the same thing as like a stock or something like that, right? Because if you look at Binance, right? At the BNB coin, you're like, well, I mean, it's like a company that does a lot of things, right? Yeah. Exchange, coin market cap, trust wallet, many other things. It's like, well, it's kind of like a stock, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, and I think more regulation will come down the road. But I think that at least it's like America is still bullish on crypto, although there's crazy shit that's happening. Like they're not cutting it off. They're not stopping it completely. And I think one of the reasons, Rodney, is the fact that it's going to make them a lot of money, right? Now, most people that are intelligent paid taxes on their crypto this year. They paid taxes, right? That's what you should do. So America probably brought in the tunes of multiple billions of dollars, right? Because 2021 was pretty profitable, at least in 2021, last year's tax season, right? 2021 was pretty profitable. A lot of people made money. Like America made a lot of money with everybody paying their taxes. So of course they're going to be pro crypto. I think that America should try to be the most pro crypto country in the world, right? Because it's like you want that income. Like it's not going anywhere. Mass adoption is coming still. I think that we do need. I would like to see America be a little bit more bullish, a little bit more adopting to cryptocurrency.
100%. And just real quick, here's the picture of that the calculator watch I was talking about. Yee! Imagine rolling up that in class.
Yee! It's on Amazon still.
Let's go. I might just buy one.
For your birthday. I might get you that and the cider card for your birthday. Your two big presents.
Ooh, a cider card. Here's the thing. Why the hell? Why wouldn't you just get a Coinbase card or a Binance? They're free.
I don't know. I haven't dug too deep into it, what the rewards are. I think there are like certain rewards though. It's like you pay for this and then you get, well, they also have them free for like NFT holders. Like that's the utility for the NFTs, but
ooh, NFTs.
Know, your birthday is coming up on February 1st. So
I swear to fucking God, if I get a fucking Saitama card for my birthday.
I'm literally, you know what I'm doing? The next holiday we have is Valentine's Day. So I'm just going to send you anonymous from baby, from your girl. Sidebar,
sidebar. Tectonic's going crazy right now, guys. We'll talk about that a little later. I'll make a video about that today. I promise. I haven't been making hype videos because I just don't like them. I'm sorry. I just like the news, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But I appreciate Jake getting me a cider card for a holiday.
Yep, we're gonna get that. We're gonna make that happen.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, when it comes to like crypto regulation, there needs to be some sort of clear cut rule. Like, you know what I mean? Because right now they're going after all the high profile Believes making a meme. This is pretty funny. Look at that. Look at Believes.
That's good.
I mean, yeah. So good. I mean, it's still down like what, a 70x from its all-time high. So you say what you want, but I win.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when you think about there needs to be some clear-cut regulation so people know, have some direction, right? You know, so people have some direction. They know what's going on, and they're starting with the big projects now, but they're going to start going after the smaller ones. You know, and I think one of the craziest cases with that was EOS, which is a big cryptocurrency project. They went after a lot, right? A lot. Oh my God, we have the Tectonic fam. Let's go, Tectonic. Let's go, guys. I'm gonna put out a video later today, but we're not gonna focus on that right now. We'll look at the chart right now. Dude, Tectonic going crazy. Dude, yeah, I bought a nice bag of this.
Jeez.
$20 million market cap right now. Let's see, Tectonic. Going absolutely insane. Like going nutty right now.
We love that. Congrats to the Tectonic fam. Tectonic Army in the house. Chris Elnez. Let's go.
In your opinion, Jake, what do you think? Which blockchain do you think is going to be competing with the Kronos chain in the future? Oh, excuse me, with Ethereum blockchain? Because there were a ton of ETH killers during the last bull run, but no one killed ETH. Do you think it's possible?
No. I think ETH might kill Bitcoin. I think that's the only possible thing. I think ETH has the potential to do so, to surpass Bitcoin. But I think that there's I don't think it's going to be one, right? Like everybody can win. I think that Cardano, when they launch their blockchain, is going to be good. I think that Kronos obviously has a lot of attention. I honestly still like Solana. Like, I know they got caught in the crossfire of SBF and FTX, but the blockchain is still solid. It goes out here or there, but it's still fast, secure, safe, right? So I think there's going to be a few. Polygon is going to be big. There's a lot of projects out there that have legit blockchains, and I think that a lot of them will win. Some will go down. There will probably be new ones that launch here. But ultimately, I don't think anything will ever kill ETH. I think it's going to be the top dog for the rest of eternity. But there will be other competition, which competition's healthy. We know that.
Yeah, competition is healthy. I'm liking, and we just really realized is that, first of all, the Kronos chain has the ability to go crazy, right? So shout out to all the Crow projects, a big Kronos guy. But Binance recently, the BNB chain, Uniswap, apparently they put out a poll, and a lot of people want them to support the BNB chain. So Uniswap is not just going to be for the Ethereum chain; they're also going to offer, BNB crypto projects.
I like that a lot. Yeah. As they should, man. It's you have to evolve, you have to expand. I really do think that, especially for investors as well, people are in this chat, going cross-chain is a good way to win. I know friends that made a ton of money on Solana NFTs. I know friends that made a lot of money on Solana meme coins this year, right? What was the Bonk was the latest one that came out?
Dude, yeah.
So yeah, I think that you shouldn't be so focused on Ethereum, and I know a lot of us are. right? Because there was a project that I was working with that was launching on the Hedera blockchain, and they were giving away $25,000. All you had to do was open up a Hedera wallet, which is as simple as creating a wallet and opening it. Now, if someone was giving away $25,000 to do that on the Ethereum blockchain, everybody and their mother, their brothers, their girlfriend, they would open up so many wallets, right? But because it was on a different chain, people aren't comfortable with doing so. So I think that's the way to win in 2023, 2024 is cross chain. That's what I'll be looking at.
100%, man. And I can't wait to see which competitors we have during the next run. But Jake, I think you're out of here. But first, before you dip, you want to say hi to your boy. We have Dom in the house. What is up, Dom?
Hey. There we go. Go back to back.
The bald CEO, absolute legend, brother. How you doing, Dom?
Very good, thank you. Feeling a little bit better. Still getting over my illness. And then you had me talking for an hour straight yesterday, and now I'm going to be doing the same.
I love that. Yeah. You guys are in for a good one. I'm going live on my channel. I go live with Rodney every Tuesday, Friday, 8 a.m. PST. So I'm going to go do my stream. You're going to have fun. Guys in the chat, make sure to stay here. This guy below me, I promise you, he has a ton of knowledge. And Rodney, you should actually ask his opinion too. I know you're going to be talking about VEMP and other projects, but ask his opinion about the Tornado Cash, because he has a good insight into it. We were talking about that, Dom, like Tornado Cash, thoughts on privacy blockchains. Maybe you can even get into the Cult DAO blockchain. I was trying to explain modules a little bit, but you guys are going to have fun. I'm going to go over there, tell my favela story, some other stuff. We'll see you. Rodney, I don't know if I'm going to see you on the Crypto Hour on Twitter tomorrow because I might be on a yacht, but we'll talk. We'll do it soon. Thanks for having me on. Dom, have a good stream. We love you. We'll see you soon.
Later. What is up, Dom? Welcome to the My Crypto Journey live stream, my guy. It's been I don't think I've ever had you on the channel yet, right?
I think we have.
No, we have not. No, we haven't.
Are you sure?
Have we? Have we?
I think we've had it at least once.
Okay, maybe we have. I don't think so. I think we were supposed to do one, but we never made it happen. I think maybe I was with you on Jake's channel one time.
Oh yeah, I think. Oh, actually, I'm not sure whose it was, but I was in Lisbon at the time, and I joined at like Friday afternoon for me. So it would have been like, it might have even been one of these. I think I joined. It was Friday afternoon for me, so it would have been Friday morning for you two.
Awesome. And guys, make sure to check out VEMP. Links to all their social medias and Dom's is in the description down below. Now, first, before we get into the products, we got to talk about, I heard you're kind of a doomer like me. Everybody thinks the crypto market's going to go parabolic from here, but I want to hear your opinion. How are you feeling about the market? There's pure ecstasy on Twitter. What do you think's going on?
Tell you what, funnily enough, I put a tweet out today and I pinned it. And it's probably one of the most depressing tweets that I've done for a while, but I have got this just utter sense of impending doom.
Yeah.
I mean, I am the Doom King, but like I remember the exact feeling where the market does not make any sense whatsoever. And the last time I felt it like this was in 2020, January and February. So on January the 23rd or January the 24th of 2020, the whole of China went into lockdown. COVID came up.
Oh my God.
Markets did very little. And funnily enough, in the next 2 months, the stock market made 8 new all-time highs after China locked down of COVID. A lot of people don't remember that, but the market did not give a shit about COVID for ages. It took 2 months and 8 new all-time highs before it created by 35%. And that was just stock market. So crypto went like over 50% down in a day.
Jeez.
And I got the same sort of feeling now that people are so, interest rates have never been higher. Like
crazy.
Last time they were this high, we had the mortgage crisis in 2008. The last time the European Central Bank raised rates by even 0.5%, it caused a sovereign debt crisis in 2013. And now they've raised it by like 2% and people think it's going to be fine. It's like everyone is sleepwalking off the edge of a cliff.
Yeah, I get same sentiment, man. And what I'm seeing right now is that like the Federal Reserve's job right now is to keep raising interest rates so we can get inflation under control. And that's going to push the economy back a little bit. And part of that is a lot of job losses. Now we're starting to see lots of companies, including cryptocurrency companies, unless you're Binance, make a lot of cuts, right? And a lot of people are getting laid off. So I cannot see the cryptocurrency markets pumping when people are losing their jobs. Crypto is seen as a risky asset. No one has discretionary income to spend on risky assets. So how can the market pump? This doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, this is where it's so mental, because everybody always uses the excuse to explain market complacency. People say markets are forward looking, and what that means is that it gives everyone an excuse as to why the markets are ignoring the present day. It happened in the run up to the COVID crash. Everyone said, well, markets are just forward looking, they're looking past the COVID. And the same thing like when we hit the bottom, they're looking past the lockdowns, etc. But now what you have is financial conditions have eased because everyone is so madly chasing this pivot in the stock market and stocks are rallying. Financial conditions are now looser in terms of the Federal Reserve is literally tightening policy with quantitative tightening and interest rates.
Yeah.
Financial conditions have loosened to March 2022 levels, which was before every single rate hike of last year. So the conditions in the economy which cause inflation, loose financial conditions, are completely back the other end. And you can see in a few charts that I shared on my Twitter, like copper is up over 10%, gasoline is up over 18%, gold is up over 6%. Like all of the commodities that cause inflation are up about 20% from their lows. So if everything that costs you money to produce goods is rising by 20%, that will cause inflation. It's just a zero-sum game. If it costs you more to produce items, then you have to pass that on to the consumer. So I think so that was just the 24-hour. But in the quote, what I'm quote tweeting is the original tweet, which has a few of the graphs in it. Is in the original quote tweet. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, right here. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the charts are there, and they're up again today. So if you look, what's that? Gasoline, 15%.
Copper, yep.
Copper, 10%. Lumber,
yep.
Again, to think that will not pass on to the consumer, therefore prices increase, is just against all the laws of logic.
Yeah, same. And dude, exactly. And so what I've learned, Dom, is that I really need to start paying attention to people that are outside of cryptocurrency, because literally I go to like a lot of the major cryptocurrency channels and it's like it's just hopium. It's fun. I like it. I get it. Like this chart did this last year when there was a full moon at 4:30 a.m., which means we're going to send it. You know what I mean? Like no logic or anything like that. So I had to start paying attention to people that are outside of crypto in order to get any solid answers on anything,
Yeah, I mean, I trade, I usually hedge. The fact that we work in crypto, one thing that I always do is that I basically hedge my life. So I will run shorts on the crypto market because I know if crypto goes down, that's my job. All of work gets harder and worse if the markets drop. So therefore, if I'm short the market, at least I'm earning money on the back end. It's basically a hedge to my life and to all of my employees' lives. So I never even look at technicals on Bitcoin or on crypto. And the main reason is that they mean nothing. The market is you got to think, Apple is worth 5 times what Bitcoin, in fact, 5 times what the whole crypto market is worth.
Crazy.
I guess the market's gone up to like $1 trillion now, so it's a bit less, but it's still worth twice just in one company. And people think that Bitcoin can't be manipulated. To mega caps, like Bitcoin is still like trading a penny stock, and it can be manipulated, and it is. So I never trade size, and I always keep such wide stops with Bitcoin because it can be pushed around like anything. So I always look at the US dollar and the S&P 500 if I'm deciding on what I do with crypto, because there is no way that the stock market will bottom. If crypto won't bottom until the stock market bottoms. And right now the stock market is at the top of the range and crypto is at the top of the range. So until the stock market decides on a direction, it doesn't matter which way you go on crypto, stocks will lead it.
100%. And then what Dom is talking about, guys, is that you can see the entire market cap of Apple's 2.25 trillion. Now, crypto's currently at 1 trillion. So this is one stock compared to the entire cryptocurrency market. And what Jake and I were talking about earlier is that some of these small cap crypto projects, you see a lot of people doing technical analysis. When you just one guy, one asshole to come in with a lot of money, ape in, shoot the green candle up, people, ape in because of FOMO and those sorts of things, right? Because emotion, run the market. But yeah, excellent point. And cryptocurrency is being traded like a tech stock right now, pretty much, right? It started to sync with the traditional markets over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at funnily enough, since January, if you look at the stock market, if you look at tech in particular, so one index, which is Chinese tech, the Golden Dragon Index, is up 20% year to date. So that's in like 3 weeks, 20% up. And that's just Chinese tech. And then the actual NASDAQ, I think, is up almost 10, maybe more. So it's the correlation. Like that is why it follows. That if the NASDAQ wasn't doing well, crypto would not be doing well. Like end of. That is the way it literally works. You cannot fight. Well, funnily enough, you might have heard the phrase, you can't fight the Fed.
Yeah.
In stocks, that is like the number one rule. Don't fight the Fed, because the Fed, if they are easing monetary policy, they'll be printing money, and that loosens financial conditions. It drops the dollar, therefore money flows easier. Everybody is making hand over fist. Stocks go up, but for some reason, people think it doesn't work the other way. So the Fed now is telling people we want financial conditions to be tighter. The Fed is saying that we are literally rolling off our balance sheet. Everything we bought in the COVID pandemic, we are now selling, but people think that they can fight the Fed this time. So on the way up, you don't fight the Fed, but on the way down, completely fine. Let's fight the Fed this time. Doesn't work like that. It's just that the Fed has never been fought for a decade, because all we've had is the money printer on for 10 years. And so nobody actually knows what it's like to have a normal interest rate environment. Up to 2007, the lowest interest rates had ever gone was 2.5%. And we're at like 3.5 now. So we're only slightly above decade lows up until this year. So nobody actually has ever experienced a real stock market. Funnily enough, I'll try and find this chart in the background, because it's something to behold.
Yeah, go to share your screen, and then I'll go ahead and kind of piggyback off what you're saying. I mean, stimmy checks. We were just really printing money when it made no sense. Now, a lot of people I knew, especially here in the States, I mean, I had friends who were making double the money they would make at their jobs just by staying home, sitting on their couch and buying Dogecoin, meme coins, GameStop, AMC, all these crazy meme coin projects. And it made zero sense. And it was absolutely insane. And now you see the governments and the Federal Reserve looking at us like, oh, we printed all this money. Why do we have inflation? You know what I mean? It's like, well, no shit. But at the time, we didn't think it was going to be an issue. And yes, we have to tighten, quantitative tightening, right? We have to take money out of circulation by raising interest rates. But I think what's very interesting is like the interest rates apply to our national debt too. Like that's 31 trillion. We can't raise interest rates forever. So a lot of people are saying, oh, we're going to stop raising interest rates or do a pivot sooner than later, because it's kind of like a checkmate scenario with the national debt. So that's interesting. Do you think the Fed is going to stop raising interest rates before we hit our target goal of 2%? Or do you think maybe they'll stop and maybe have a new goal?
So the Fed has never, people seem to have this idea that pivots are bullish. And in fact, there's only a couple of times where pivots have been bullish. So if the Fed pivots in a recession, the average drawdown in stocks for the next 30 months is minus 30%. If the Fed pivots and there is no recession, then it's much better. So this idea, people seem to think that the Fed will just pivot for fun. The Fed has never pivoted for fun. If conditions get to the point where the Fed has to step in, it will not be for any reason that people would want to buy. Like the Fed steps in when the whole monetary system is at risk of collapse. Like that is what happens. Like there is no historical precedent ever for the Fed cutting rates just because people have lost their jobs. The Fed does not give a shit. They want people to lose their jobs. That is the whole point of inflation. And you raise interest rates when everybody gets too much money. The Fed's job right now is to make you poor. That is their aim. And we're not listening. We're still just aping into like shitcoins. Because that's all we know. And everyone has forgotten that this is not how a normal market functions. I'll share like, this is how a, let me share my screen again. This is literally like a normal market function. Here, if it's on the screen.
Gotcha.
I know
you're live.
Jake gets obsessed with hiding this thing. This is how the market existed. Like, where are we here? So this is 91 to 2015, right? And so this looks very normal. And what people seem to forget about bear markets is here we are at the dot-com crash. So it took us from August 2000 to 2007. Took us 7 years to remake the gains that we lost in the last boom and bust period, the last proper one. This was a bubble, a tech bubble, and this was a property bubble. And so it took us from 2007 to get here, 2013, 5 years. And then we worked out that we could turn on the money printer. We learned that from Japan. Japan was the first country to invent quantitative easing. They then became the first country to invent negative interest rates. And then they became the first country to invent yield curve control, which are all just posh ways of saying printer go boo. Honestly, that's all it is. And so this is a normal market really up until 2013. But because we've only been investing for 10 years because we're young, we have been like tricked into thinking that this part is the normal part. This is not the normal.
It's sending.
So this is historical context. This is a normal market, and this is when the printer got turned on. Like it, you can tell which part is the asset bubble. So back here, we had 7 years for us to get down from a tech bubble. 7 years. We had a mortgage bubble and a property bubble, and it took us 5 years. Now we have an absolutely everything in the world bubble due to 10 years of crazy monetary policy printing our way to growth. And to think that the Fed can pivot here with the dollar where it is now, think about it, we got oil at like $88 a barrel. If they were to pivot now and the dollar was to drop further, the dollar and oil are inversely correlated. The whole reason why copper's up, lumber's up, every commodity is up is because it's inverse to the dollar. If you have a cheap dollar, it means that countries outside of the US have less export costs. Mm-hmm. So that's why they're inversely correlated. So when you loosen monetary policy, that loosens and drops the dollar. So the more the dollar drops, the more commodities go up and inflation comes back. To think that they would possibly pivot with oil at $88 a barrel and everything up 20%, it would destroy the market. It would, for about 6 months, everyone would go back to like insanity. The markets would go to like 5K, exactly like this insane part here. Mm-hmm. And then it would be even worse. Like it would come back so quickly. Honestly, like the monetary mistakes of the last decade people will look back and think, how could they have been so stupid to think that we could increase the money supply that's been in existence for a century by 33% in 2 years and think we'd be fine? It doesn't work. Like it's literally like you can't compute. This is how we are at the moment. So this is where everybody's getting really bullish because we've finally broken above this trend line. Here we go. So,
barely though, like a little bit, you know.
So, but this is enough for people. So,
I saw that on the crypto banter this morning. I was watching the crypto banter a little bit. This is the whole stream right here. It's like, we got above it, baby. We're here.
And it's happened before, right here. People forget that. And you can see like the same pattern like repeats itself. It did here, literally like this is exactly the same as this, exactly the same as this. Like it's insane to think. I mean, everyone was saying here, oh, it's way too obvious. It can't go there. Like it's never so perfect. Then people said here, it's never so perfect. And then when it went up here, never so perfect. And now again, everyone is saying this time. But the market wants to go down. The Fed wants it to go down. And they've just seen the market undo a year of their work. Effectively, the market has said to the Fed, we don't believe you. We're going to rally stocks. The Fed has no choice but to absolutely destroy the market, because central banks and the monetary policy runs on legitimacy. If you do not have trust in the financial system, it all goes. It's a Ponzi. Like, the financial system is literally a Ponzi. It's nothing backed by nothing that we just believe in because we believe in it. And it can take 6 months to undo all of that. Look at Venezuela, Zimbabwe, like
crazy.
It just can all go so quickly. So if people don't believe central bank, it's like Christine Lagarde, so head of the ECB. If we move to like,
and people understand, like, hyperinflation's the destroyer of all things great. I mean, a lot of people thought that Roman Empire fell because of Germanic tribes, but if you look at a little bit of history, you can see that a big part of that was hyperinflation. Their money became worthless, and people stopped believing in the pretty much their monetary system. Yeah,
it spells like the end of empires, and that's exactly what's happening now. So look, you can see here. So this is the FTSE MIB, so the Italian index. Again, like, this is a daily chart, 5 years, like record overbought back here, like literally so high, like insane levels. And this is when we've got a war in Ukraine, right? So literally next door,
wow.
The Russians are at the gates, and we are at record overbought levels. Italy, like, their debt is junk level, like, as in, like, officially their bond yield the same as what is classified by like Standard & Poor's as junk. That is like what their bonds are worth, like, in terms of default risk.
Jeez.
And people just think, I don't know what they think, but we've literally got the Russians, like, and we're sending them now German tanks. It's like, if you were a Russian and you saw a German tank or US Abrams tank on the battlefield, are you going to think, oh no, it's okay, it's a Ukrainian driving that, I'm sure it's fine, they can blow me up and kill me? I don't think that's NATO. Like, it's literally NATO's army with Ukraine proxy soldiers. Like, we are literally at war with Russia, and FTSE MIB is flying. It's literally insane. And
the war,
like, literally, Christine Lagarde has said, like, she has literally said, we're going to hike rates by 50 basis points in the next 2 meetings. And the market's gone up. Like, they don't believe her, and that's lost legitimacy.
That's crazy, and the people think the war, I mean, when it comes to the war over there, we're doing everything but putting actual troops on the ground, right? Everything but troops. We're putting troops on the border. We're training them. We're getting them all our weapons and technology, and they're giving them hell. And Russia's really fighting for the future of their country. If you think about Russia, where it's at, just like in the world, they need Ukraine. They need to kind of uphold their kind of like their sanctity and those sorts of things. So they're kind of fighting for survival of their nation, right? Very interesting conflict.
Like, you got to think, if you're, I always use this analogy. If China started putting missiles in Mexico, would America even think twice about absolutely flattening everything in Mexico? Literally. The Cuban Missile Crisis was literally caused by Russia trying to put missiles in Cuba.
Yeah, that started the Cold War.
And to think that, like, there was a literal agreement, like, between JFK and Gorbachev, I believe, or it could have been.
It was Gorbachev.
Yeah, literally, and the phrase was not an inch to the east from when West Germany reunited with Eastern Germany. Literally not an inch to the east. And since then, Poland, now they've got Sweden and Finland both bordering, and they wanted Ukraine. And you got to think, like, that is first strike capability is the most important thing for nuclear weapons. Being able to take out a country's nuclear arsenal before they even know what's hit them, because then they can't strike back. And that is what it all comes down to. And to think that you can literally move nukes to a country's border and then not have them do anything, I mean, it's
crazy.
It's obvious.
Yeah, obvious, 100%. And, the argument is, and I'm a former military person too. I was in the National Guard, which is kind of like our army, right? And you look at these sorts of things, and what you realize what's going on is, I can't remember when there was actually a good versus evil war after World War II. It's usually trying to dominate and uphold your sanctity of life, which is United States, right? The things we have going on here. But unfortunately, a byproduct of that is being involved in so many other countries. I mean, look where the USA is. We're in so many different countries. We have, troops there, you know what I mean, to protect the home front. And how many wars are fought here except for Pearl Harbor? Zero since the Civil War, right?
Well, the West we're the rules-based order, and we are the upholder of human rights. Right. So yeah, everybody digs out China, and China has a terrible human rights record. Like nobody is debating that. But for some reason, we think that ours is so good, considering that we literally left Afghanistan like this, pulled out, and let the Taliban take over, banning like all like education for females. After we, of course, bombed and killed
20 years
of their children. But we are the rules-based order. We literally bomb and kill civilians, and we look at China when they are like imprisoning citizens, and we say, no, that's human rights. But we're literally killing kids. Like, it's insane. Yeah. China hasn't started a war for 50 years. Like, it just doesn't happen. But for some reason, that's different. Like, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. And it's all propaganda. It's such a like machine of just, there's no explaining why we're taught to hate a few countries, right? So off the top of our head, when we think of corruption, we think of North Korea, Russia, China, Venezuela, Iran. Yep. Funnily enough, every single one of those has a central bank that is owned either by the state or by the people. So Iran, after the Cultural Revolution, they kicked out all of the Americans from their oil fields and nationalized it. Venezuela, the CIA tried to overthrow Chavez literally 3 times, failed. And then again, he wouldn't sell out the oil. He wouldn't accept loans with the oil fields as collateral. It is no coincidence that every single country that is blacklisted evil and we're told is doing all of these terrible things owns all of their own resources. It's just propaganda.
What, dude, 100%. And one thing really opened my eyes, and I'm a service member, and first of all, rest in peace to all my brothers and sisters who went to Iraq for weapons of mass destruction, who were in Afghanistan and were there for 20 years, risking their lives, limbs, families destroyed, just to come back and for literally things to return back to business as usual, right? With an abrupt withdrawal from Afghanistan. And you look at it, you have to understand it's not about weapons of mass. It's not about that. It's just about money, power, oil, right? Influence, and preserving the American way of life. And I mean, there's a lot of, I know one side says, well, we want to keep our lifestyle and our way of life here. But there's the other side that says, well, do we preserve that way of life at the expense of other nations, right? And destroying, because man, people understand how good we have it in the West, especially here in the United States. There's no wars fought here. Europe, literally World War II, right? It just destroyed. Like, Europeans have been through some shit. Like, what was crazy to me, Dom, is I was watching the whole Russian and Ukraine conflict, and there was Kiev was being bombed at the time, but people were still going out and having a good time and raving, because that's just like the norm over there. So people understand like how lucky we have it over here. We never had we don't have a history like that, right? Where like literally Germany just destroyed, firebombed, or Tokyo, or London, right? So we have it so good over here, and people have to understand that. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are ungrateful in the West, and they're on their high horses all the time. It's like, man,
you got perspective. The whole reason why America is the richest country in the world is for the very reason that twice they came into the war after everyone had already obliterated each other. in 1917, after the Lusitania, which was a cruise liner, was torpedoed, funnily enough.
World War One.
Yeah, World War One. The German Ministry of Defense put out an advert in the New York Times saying, if you board this ship, it is sailing into active U-boat areas. It can get torpedoed. They literally put a warning in the New York Times, the German government, saying, don't board this ship, because they knew that inevitably it would end up getting torpedoed. It gets torpedoed, America enters the war. Pearl Harbor, they had knowledge for ages. And in fact, who was the president at the time? It wasn't Woodrow Wilson.
Roosevelt, yeah.
Yeah. They saw this coming a mile off. So everything, they literally put up trade embargoes on like oil, did everything in their power to infuriate the Japanese, broke so many codes. Like there was heavy indications that Japan was planning something. And again, if you come into the war after everyone's already obliterated everything, like you clean up the mess, you have the money, you've been staying out. It's like Switzerland. Switzerland literally has made their money from Nazi gold. Like it's just funnily enough. So speaking about like London getting obliterated, the Luftwaffe, the literal air force of the Nazis, their air force could not function without a particular type of oil, which was from one of the Rothschild's companies. So it was literally a US oil company produced the fuel which the Luftwaffe could only use in their engines. So without that US oil company, the Luftwaffe couldn't have destroyed and bombed London. But nobody mentions that.
No one mentions anything. And you know what's crazy to me? You know what's really heinous to me, Dom, is after World War II, how many Nazi scientists who are responsible for crazy, cruel deaths, or of obviously of a certain population, right? How many of them were brought to the United States and given freedom just to help us further our kind of science and especially getting it to the moon, right? They were crucial in getting it to the moon.
Japanese ran like some of the cruelest, sickest experiments. Like I think the Germans, the Nazis found the vaccine to polio, if I'm not mistaken, or they found the malaria vaccine. Nazis again, like the amount of I think it was General, what's his name, General B. Smedley. War is a racket. The only one where the I can't remember the full quote. It's war is a racket. The only one where the costs are counted in like bodies or something like that. It's a quote by this general who literally wrote a book called War is a Racket. And it's where a few people get extremely rich, cleaning up after everyone's killed each other. Like it's sick, to be honest.
Yeah, it's crazy. And just to backtrack it a little bit, and then we're going to get into we got to talk about some of the crypto projects we have going on here, and a part of cryptocurrency that I think is mostly untapped that VEMP really kind of rebranded to. But back to World War One, this is the danger of hyperinflation, and to me, this always stuck out in history class. Was Germany after World War One, how worthless their money was, and really the catalyst for them to do some extreme shit, which really led to World War II, right? And literally wheelbarrows of money. For like a loaf of bread, and this is like what could happen if we let them, if the Federal Reserve lets things get out of control.
Yeah, crazy. It turned into. I mean, it was literally the breeding ground of like fascism. Is after World War One, literally Europe just turned into tons of like political factions, and the Nazi Party came at it with the angle of uniting everybody together, unity through, we can't trust politics, we can't trust political parties. They all have a singular agenda. Let's just trust this one guy, and we will elect this chancellor, and he will look after the country. It sounds like, we're going to finally restore the currency, we're going to restore our greatness, and we're going to stop apologizing for our previous wrongs in World War One. And everyone's thinking, oh, great, well, this sounds brilliant. We can literally get rid of all of that, go back to being like literally the German industrial machine that we were before. And so that's what Hitler did. He united everybody and he indoctrinated everybody. And he was an absolute king of propaganda.
Charismatic. Crazy.
Very. And literally, he got everybody singing to the same hymn sheet. And then he just took control and expanded the military. And again, he struck so many deals with UK government, US government. Like before that, like he managed to build Germany up to the point that they were by effectively paying off the governments to turn the other way, like look the other way. Because after World War I, they agreed, we're not going to build our army above a certain level. We will have X number of ships. We can't go over that. X number of tanks, etc., etc. But by buying tanks and materials from all of these other countries, they said, okay, fine, you can have those extra tanks, but let us sell you the steel, etc. Yeah. And everyone instantly forgets, like, these people are facilitated by Western big business. All of these people get their guns from these companies.
Yeah, and every time they took one step further, we were like, "Don't you do that!" And every time they did it, we're like, "All right, don't do that. All right, don't you invade Poland? All right, you know what I mean?" So we crazy
sanctions, literally, like every single round of sanctions that I've seen against Russia. Bear in mind, you got to remember, going back to like 2014, the Russians came over and poisoned Alexander Litvinenko in the UK. Literally came over and poisoned him with radiation in London.
Was that the gas attack?
No, so that was another one. That was Litvinenko before. Then they came over to Salisbury and they poisoned another ex-Russian spy. So you got to think, we've had literal, like, the Russians come over and kill our citizens for a decade, and yet every time we give them the strongest sanctions ever seen. There's been 9 rounds of sanctions just since Ukraine. Every single one the strongest the world's ever seen. Obviously, they do nothing, because they still come over and literally, like, kill our people and just get back on a plane. Like, it's just insane. Like, how far does it have to go?
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, it's crazy to me, and we're going to get into VEMP here, because I like the way you guys really rebranded, and you guys are kind of tapping into a space in crypto that I think is, the fucking door is wide open. I was watching it's a guy named Jordan Peterson. Have you heard of him, Jordan Peterson?
Yeah.
He talked about Hitler, and maybe, like, he got his goal, which was kind of to watch the world burn. And when he died, pretty much Germany around him, Berlin, burning down to the ground. So maybe at the end of the day, and he killed himself too, right? So, well, allegedly, you know, at the end of the day, he kind of got his goal of watching the world burn, even for a brief second. So World War II is so crazy. If you guys don't like, you got to understand World War II, because I think it's so important when it comes to just history, and just like every part of it to me is super interesting. I just love it. So, but now, let's move over to VEMP. Let's talk about VEMP. And guys, of course, you can check out VEMP. Links to everything is in the description down below. And last time I talked about VEMP, because I made a few videos for you guys a few months ago, and I talked about it. I've liked kind of the rebranding. Let's talk about the rebranding. And you guys are kind of tapping, and obviously you guys have done this before with the metaverse, but now you guys are tapping into gaming, crypto gaming, which I feel like the door is wide open.
Yeah, 100%. Funnily enough, so the person who designed our logo is the same people who designed the Airbnb logo and the Tinder logo. So we got it done.
Okay.
Why it looks good. Because, yeah, it's very, very sleek. Big fans. But yeah, so essentially, I mean, as you know, we've always been metaverse and gaming, and that's not necessarily going away. We have our staking platform, which historically has had metaverse pools as well as layer 1. So we have BNB on the BSC side. We have Ethereum on the ETH side. We also had like BUSD. But because we end up having, for example, in our sand pool, we only buy sand assets, you know, for obvious reasons. Like if people are staking their sand, then they're expecting returns on sand assets. And so that limits us somewhat, because we have to stick to that mandate. You know, even though we own 90 parcels of land in the sandbox,
I know that. You guys were actually giving them away for a while, right? Doing some contests and those sorts of things.
Yeah, we had one just because we were in their alpha season 3, so we gave away some land then. But literally, like, even though it's 90 parcels, because they're in estates, you know, you have 3x3s, 6x6s. So even though it's 90, you know, 36 of those are all in one 6x6. So you can't, you know, buy and sell those frequently because you can't just sell one of 36 because it devalues all the rest of them. So
Yeah.
even though it's 90 assets, in reality it's 4 or 5, which means that we can't buy and sell as much. Therefore, we can't redistribute a secondary yield, which we try to do on all of the pools in the token that people stake. So because of that, we're going to move everything into the layer 1 pools. So Ethereum, we've been able to basically give a yield of 12 or 13% in ETH, so like double 2.0 staking, just from the past year. So we're going to move everything into those like generalist strategies. So rather than looking at one particular metaverse, we're spreading risk over multiple. So the same strategy is going to remain, but we're basically tidying up the pools and also going to cross to even more chains. So Solana is ready to go. We were planning on launching that a while back, but with everything that happened with FTX, we just put that on the back burner, especially because you only get with all crypto, you only get one shot at any marketing activity. If you launch it in a bear market, the eyes just aren't there.
Yeah.
So you got to time it basically for max impact because you only bridge once.
And you guys have been around for a year and a half, which is literally and it was crazy about you guys. I remember when I was doing research on your project. First of all, before the verifications were pay to play, or excuse me, you just pay $8 for it. You guys were verified, and you guys were around in the cryptocurrency space for a year. Now it's been a year and a half. So tell me, then the last year and a half, as the leader of this project, what are kind of some of the kind of hard things you guys had to kind of get through, and some of the things you had to deal with, because it hasn't been easy, and a lot of projects are just gone and not even doing anything anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, especially because we have no tax on our token, so we literally don't have any sort of income stream from that, no marketing taxation. So we didn't actually raise much privately. So a lot of no tax tokens will take on tons of VCs. So we had some private investment. Originally, we weren't planning on having any, but we were an incubated launch with Unicrypt, and they introduced us to MEXC, the exchange, which people will know. And they loved the project and they wanted to invest. They said, we'll give you a 100K ticket, just invest our tokens over 18 months. So I took them on because I thought, well, it's good to have their alignment, because then they're not exactly going to dump the token when they're the ones who are having the IEO. It basically means that they have to commit to the project. So as you said, that was 18 months ago. So we're literally at the end of all of our VC vesting. So all of that sell pressure, if they were selling, is completely gone now anyway. But yeah, we raised just over 200K, which is obviously a lot of money, but in terms of a crypto VC raise, nothing.
Dude, yeah. Insane. And you look at some of the VCs, right? I mean, right now, and Charles Hoskinson spoke about it. Some of these VCs are terrible in this space, especially for products that launch, into the space in 2 months, they're gone, because these VCs literally want to make everyone else exit liquidity, right? So it's good that you guys had a small round, right? You didn't have millions and millions of dollars of these VCs that just want to pull out when they can.
Yeah, so we had less than 3% of our supply owned privately, and we launched with 20%. So we locked all team tokens and all rewards across 21 years. So our inflation rate has always been very, very low. Obviously, at the beginning, it's higher because you have the VCs that unlock over 12 to 18 months linearly. So that's about to end, which means that all of the any additional locks are coming to an end. So it's just literally the 20-year drip feed, which we use to incentivize our staking pools. So we pay a yield to stakers in our own token, and then we use those assets and we give a secondary yield. So yeah, as you can see, we're on KuCoin, Huobi, MEXC, Gate. We are taking advantage of the market conditions. We've taken over some of our investments that have gone broke in the bear market, like tons of tokens have. We've literally taken over their assets, and now we're adding, in fact, 3 tokens worth of utilities. So 2 games, which would have had 3 tokens between them, we are taking those over and adding those protocols on top of all of our existing utilities. So we're literally adding enough utility that would have made 3 tokens just onto our existing 1 token. And we're going to be launching all of those onto our games launcher, and you'll have the one coming up is Warring Tribes, which is going to be a VEMP game. And then we've got Penguin Cards, which is one that we took over, which is like Mario Kart, but with penguins.
No, that's hilarious. First of all, when it comes to Mario Kart 64, none of you guys want to see me. I am the best, and that is not even I got Toad, any track, no one wants to see me. Okay, Dom, I don't want to hear your opinion. It doesn't matter. I'm the best. Okay, but I like it. All right, I'm the GOAT. I'm the GOAT. Okay, so crypto gaming to me is wide open, and it feels like a lot of the space really is interested in crypto gaming, and people are trying their different things. So in your opinion, what do you see about the crypto gaming industry? Because a lot of people outside of crypto are criticizing crypto gaming, right? Xbox, for example, talked about the metaverse and pretty much said, somebody high up in Xbox said, oh, the metaverse is just a really bad video game. So what is your opinion on just crypto gaming in general, and where do you see it going, and why are you guys really focusing on it? First becoming like a metaverse cryptocurrency product, but now metaverse and cryptocurrency gaming. So what's so appealing about cryptocurrency gaming to you?
Yeah, I mean, I can see why there's a few, and you see it often, like, as you know, crypto is seasonal. You have, the first one, let's say, was DeFi Summer in 2020. And then after that, you had sort of Axie come up, and that brought in a gaming season. And then
Axie was crazy.
It literally pumped to like over $200. I think now it's like $7. But that sort of blended into a metaverse season, which got exacerbated when Facebook rebranded and sent everything up. And inevitably, it's like Charles Hoskinson said, people make this mistake of thinking that VCs are clever. They are not. Trust me, this type of investments that I see, I'm in a lot of these group chats because obviously we write tickets into private sort of opportunities, and I see these investments that they make, and I honestly think, like, in the bull market they will literally chuck money at anything, and it is so dumb. And inevitably, when they invest in an influx of games, an influx of metaverses, people build these projects. Like, it's like when Shiba Inu did it, everything ended in Inu. And it's like a cult, and then you have tons of like people trying to copy that, and you have these like copycats that come up. And inevitably, when VCs invest in games that are trying to be the next Axie, they don't blame their own terrible decisions. They blame the sector or the company. Like, they don't take any responsibility for their own. It's always to do with something else. So because metaverse and gaming was the last season, inevitably now VCs hate that because they've got too many games, and all of them have done shit because they literally chucked money at them, FOMOing in like retail. It's exactly the same. Like, these people aren't any smarter. They just have better networks potentially, but most of them don't even have that. So one of the main things that we're doing differently, and one of the reasons why gaming in particular suffered, is that everybody just copied Axie, and then Axie's economy went to shit, so everything else went to shit. We never had that problem because we never tried to launch with 2 tokens. We locked our tokens from the get-go over 20 years. So our inflation rate, I think, is less than like the US and the UK right now because it's locked over 20 years, and it will just drip feed out over that time period to feed our staking pools. So people didn't plan well, and you know what crypto is like. People, to find someone in crypto who knows anything about finance and economics alone,
God, so hard. God,
So to think that we can then trust these people to design solid, introducing a currency to a metaverse or an in-game economy, there is no difference to. It's literally like The Sims. Like, it is like running a monetary system. Like, if you have Decentraland and you have a currency that is used in Decentraland, it's the same as having another one. It's a like pattern, and you have to get certain bits right. And if you mess something up down here, like something breaks in the chain down here, and it's a very, very hard thing to master. But we just thought, like, we'll just flush all that SLP out and reward people with AXS and nobody thought about it. And it inevitably, when people don't understand the economics, like most politicians decide to take charge of economics, they screw it up. and they give stimulus checks to everyone, and they chuck it into crypto. And it causes inflation, because that's what happens when, funnily enough, you give people free money, they spend it. So this is just, it's part and parcel. And people just, they learn the hard way. Gaming will come back, metaverse will come back. At the moment, it's out of trend, but that's only because it was only just in trend. And I mean, yeah, there's nothing that states, like, for example, I see a lot of VCs, when I'm speaking to them, they will say, oh, we don't like two-token economies in games. And that's only down to Axie, because SLP blew up and that screwed Axie. But there is no evidence that a two-token model, a three-token model, a 1, a 4 doesn't work. It's all down to the economy. A well-designed economy is a well-designed economy. It doesn't matter how many tokens that's made out of. A one-token economy designed very badly will do worse than a two-token economy designed well. It's just the way it works. But people get this idea in their head that, oh, gaming doesn't work. But in reality, it just means that their gaming hasn't worked. Or two-token economies don't work. In reality, it just means the one they experienced didn't.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, literally, I mean, economy's hard enough outside of crypto with nations and those sorts of things who can't get it right a lot of the time. So you can imagine how complicated it can be with people who don't really know much about it inside crypto. And, you know, I like to listen to a lot of Bitcoin maxis sometimes, because I think they have some good points. And a lot of these companies, or these cryptocurrency products, are just tech companies, right, that are on the blockchain to avoid SEC, you know, regulations and those sorts of things. Now, like you said, when it comes to venture capitalists, shout out to Kevin O'Leary and FTX. Sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? But first, I want to talk about something that really stood out to me with you guys before it was a trend. Now, after the collapse of FTX, CZ from Binance made it a goal to say, hey, this is our cryptocurrency exchange, right? And these are our proof of reserve. So they made it a thing on CoinMarketCap, which of course Binance owns, to say, hey, every cryptocurrency exchange needs or is encouraged to put their proof of reserves out there. Now, when I was doing research on your project, that was something you guys had from the jump. And so what made you guys, months before happened on CoinMarketCap. So what made you guys want to do this? And why do you think it's important to be this transparent, especially during hard times?
Yeah, I mean, even I think this is the half yearly one from previous. In fact, yeah, we had our first quarter even. We did a quarterly report. I mean, it's just the way that I've been, because my background, to those who wouldn't know, before crypto, I started out as a stockbroker and then a derivatives trader. So in the UK, that's like CFDs, contracts for difference. US equivalent would be like futures and options, that sort of thing. So leverage trading, essentially. So you got to have a good grasp of risk.
Peer degeneracy, right there.
Yeah. Well, it's about the most degenerate regulated activity you can do, derivatives and leverage trading on stocks and futures. But so I ran the trading desk there, did very well, and then I moved into wealth management, and I was an associate partner at a FTSE 100 wealth manager called St James's Place. And then after that, I moved into venture capital, and the VC that I worked for specialized in asset-backed investing. So that is investing into the boring stuff like pubs, hotels, care homes, children's nurseries, gyms, anything that had a property that essentially backed the asset. So if the actual business went down the drain, at least you own the property, which would effectively pay off like some of your risk. And that is what sort of bridged over into the metaverse, as, you know, I saw that there was an opportunity that, you know, tokens are just code on the blockchain. With metaverses, you do have some level of, although it's a virtual asset, you do have NFTs that are backing it. You do have those assets. So in crypto, you have, well, and any asset is measured by buys and sells. That is what moves a token up, it moves a token down. In property funds, normal ones, like US ones, UK ones, you have two measurements. You have the fund price, which is, you know, just like a token, just like a share, it moves up and down based on people buying and selling. You also have a NAV price, and a NAV is the net asset value. So what you have, and in fact, you've seen it recently with, I think it was a company called Blackstone. They've gated their property fund to withdrawals. And that's because inevitably everyone knows, oh, high interest rates, high mortgage rate, property is going to do badly. Let's take my money out of the fund. So what you find is, even though the NAV price might be at 100, if people are selling it, then the fund price can drop down to 90, because the fund price is controlled by humans buying and selling. The more sells, the lower the price goes. But those like properties don't crumble. Like, they don't just get destroyed by people selling the fund. The asset retains their value. However, you're getting redemption. So you need to then start fire selling assets just to cover the cash that people want to withdraw. And that can be a self-fulfilling prophecy, because obviously if you can't give people withdrawals, they want the withdrawals more. It's just like FTX. It's like a bank run, basically.
Yeah.
So where you have an opportunity, where I saw it with crypto, was the fact that we can invest in these assets. We can have a level of like, I think so. Some of our staking pools are like, in fact, like Sand, for example, and Mana and Ape are 100% token now. So bear in mind, we own 90 parcels in the sandbox, but our Sand staking pool has 100% of its tokens in it. So that is just all of buying the asset and then buying back the tokens at a lower price and then putting it back. So everything else is just the cream on the top. So that's where the opportunity is, in the fact that crypto is still so emotional, and like people just buy and sell based on fear, based on FOMO, based on marketing, and people aren't sensible. So if you can demonstrate to people, like in the reports that you see, that our assets are worth twice our market cap, that means something. And that means that the market is not pricing us correctly. And the reason why is because the market isn't controlled by sensible people yet. The stock market, where you have these market inefficiencies, they don't last long, because if enough people are doing analysis on like balance sheets, cash flow, they spot these inaccuracies and they buy it, because that is literally the job of stock pickers. You have these chartered financial analysts, and their job is to look at balance sheets and try and find stocks which are mispriced, where somebody has missed something, and that gives you the opportunity because you spot it. And that's what the stock market basically is. It's finding market values which don't reflect the actual value, or finding market values where it's overpriced and selling it. So effectively, we wanted to demonstrate that our assets are worth more than our market cap. This is the opportunity. As the crypto market matures and the people who currently cover stocks come over and cover tokens, their traditional valuation metrics will follow them. And they'll be looking at protocols like VEMP for that very reason, that we aren't just code, we aren't just marketing, we actually have assets.
That's awesome. And if you guys want to check out VEMP, everything about this product is in the description down below. And if you want to follow Dom, his Twitter @ is also in the description down below. Give this man a follow. Lots of real knowledge that we need in the cryptocurrency world, man, because you cannot find this on cryptocurrency channels. I'm telling you, I look to other people that are just, they're traditional finance guys. Usually CPAs are good at this. And what they'll do is they're investors in crypto. They love crypto. Maybe they don't like blockchain technology, but they like money. And so they're going to give you the honest truth about investing in those sorts of things. Now, when it comes to, I want to touch on Colt before we go into cookies, which we're having an AMA with today. Let's talk about Colt a little bit, because Jake mentioned something about privacy, and I know that. Are you involved with Colt? What is your, are you an investor in the project, or how are you involved with Colt?
Everybody thinks it's mine.
But you're an investor, right?
Yeah. So I was one of the pre-appointed guardians, and I've been. Because of that, I've been shilling it since like the pre-sale. So inevitably, people associate me with it, and I constantly get called Mr. Omodulus. I think it's just because he also seems to know a fair amount about finance, and there's so many few people in crypto that obviously we have to be the same person. But away from that, so I've always loved Colt, always been a big advocate.
And we should focus on privacy too, because Jake mentioned something about privacy earlier, which is getting slowly taken away with regulation, especially in the US.
Yeah, so the actual blockchain that Colt is building is a ZK EVM blockchain. So ZK stands for zero knowledge, and so a ZK rollup is that in order to batch transactions and send them faster and at lower fees, a ZK rollup rolls up all the transactions and sends them in 1TX. And what that means is that if you are sending transactions directly to a node, then you can roll up those transactions with everything else and all the other ones, and therefore it isn't publicly on Etherscan. And so what I hate about like privacy or the lack of it is that for some reason we have been coerced and tricked into thinking that privacy isn't a human right, and that the burden of evidence should be on the accuser, never on the accused. If you say to me, oh, do you have $20? And I say yes, and you say, show me your wallet then, why should I have to? As in like, and then someone would say, okay, well, you're lying then, you obviously don't have $20. And you feel like you need to justify yourself. You feel like, what do you mean? No, I do have $20. I have some money. And so you feel like you are doing something wrong just by not showing somebody your wallet where you've got $20, because they think, well, why is it a big thing for you? Why are you not showing that? Like, you obviously don't have it. And you get guilt tripped into just letting people into your life, letting people into your finances, looking at everything. And unfortunately, blockchain is one way where this is expected. Like the amount of people who, for example, people post pictures of my family on Twitter and they say it's justified because I'm a dev. No, it's not. Like, why is that any of your business? It's not your business just because I have, like, people don't do that in stocks. Like, that's not how it works. Just this market is so toxic, full of just people who are just FOMOing in. And if it doesn't go well, people blame that it can't possibly, again, just like VCs, they can't possibly make bad decisions. It must be the corporates and it must be the sector. Same thing for investors. They think, I can't possibly have made a bad decision. The dev must have robbed me. No, people make bad decisions. And the burden of proof, as in you don't go to the dev and say you've robbed me, show me you haven't. Like, that's not how life works. Like, if somebody has done something to wrong you, you need to prove that. Like, you can't just expect them to open up their lives and like post pictures of their like family and things.
That's crazy.
It's insane. Like,
yeah, I've had the same thing happen to me as an influencer. Same thing. My address. Crazy.
It is nuts. Like, people are so entitled that it's unbelievable. And that is not the way that like society should function in general. Like, you don't accuse somebody and tell them to prove their innocence. Otherwise, like, what sort of society is that? Like,
unless you're the IRS.
Out of control.
Unless you're the IRS and you're getting audited.
Well, still, I mean, even then, like, as long as you pay your taxes, like, you shouldn't have to show like everything. As long as they know that you've paid them, like, they shouldn't be able to dig in any further, in my opinion. And so the ZK EVM works where you decide whether to make your transactions public or not. And I think that this is perfectly justified. A lot of people said, oh no, it's bad because it means that people can rug pull, or people can like hide their transactions so that like Tornado Cash got sanctioned. But this is what I don't understand. So banning and arresting the developer of Tornado Cash and sanctioning Tornado Cash is like a North Korean hacker getting into a taxi and banning taxis because they facilitate the travel of terrorists. It doesn't make sense just because one person used it for. It's like I'm going to the other side of town and I'm gonna sell a bag of weed to somebody. And in this country, weed's illegal. So rather than actually go after the people selling the weed, you instead ban taxis because taxis make that happen. It's such a blunt tool that it doesn't make sense. It's like banning whole, privacy restricting software just because bad people use it. It doesn't make sense. And so that's where people think, well, why do you need Tornado Cash? Evidently, you're trying to hide something if you use Tornado Cash. So what's the problem? And again, it seems almost reasonable to think like you would be if you saw that a developer launched a token and that they immediately send like all of the ETH through Tornado, you immediately think that's a rug. Why? It's just because other people have done that. True, like it's suspicious. But at the end of the day, shouldn't it be down to the individual who's getting involved to make those decisions? And that's why I like what Colt is doing with its blockchain, because you can see if the dev that you're buying a project into has chosen to hide their transactions. And if you see that they have chosen, it is up to you to decide whether you want to get involved. Like, don't look at them, don't look at anyone else, take responsibility for your own decisions, and don't blame other people when it goes wrong. And that's what I like about the fact that with Etherscan, like everyone always like has like, if you can see it, therefore it's you can say, oh well, I didn't see anything on Etherscan, therefore it absolves me of responsibility. Yeah. But if you outright see that someone's not doing it, then it puts the responsibility back on the person, and that's what people don't like. People much prefer to believe it's not their fault, but it's somebody else's.
100%, man. And to me, this is obvious. It's not about privacy. It's not about excuse me. It's not about hackers and those sort of things. It's about the government wants to know exactly what's going on, and they're getting rid of a tool, right, that helps you hide or maintain the anonymity of cryptocurrency. Now, in closing, I do want to mention that first. So, shout out to VEMP. Fantastic project. One that I absolutely love covering. And shout out to Colt Dow, big in the space. And shout out to you guys for both getting listed on KuCoin, which is not easy. And that's a very top tier exchange. And exchanges are not important, especially in a bear market. But here's the thing. When the hype starts to kick in and people want to know where to buy something, it's everywhere at once. So that's why it's important to get exchange listings in a bear market, and not just any exchange listings, really high quality ones. Now, in closing, I'm having an AMA today at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We've been talking about this product for 3 weeks now. You see the logo here every day. I talk about it every day at the beginning of my streams, called Cookies Protocol, and a very interesting experiment in DeFi. And I love these products that are kind of experimental, and a little bit about. We're not going to go too much into it, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we are having the AMA today at 4:30. There's a link to the Twitter space in the description of this video. Make sure you're there. Come hang out. Because I want to see what this project has to offer. And of course, #ad. They are sponsoring me this month. Got to do that on YouTube. So do you know anything about Cookies, Dom?
I do. Well, it is a very, very cute logo at the end of the day. I mean,
right?
What I like about Cookies, and I've been helping them out in terms of like their marketing and making sure that everything is sorted on that front. Again, it's one of these things where the developer, I know who it is, but they've chosen sort of anonymity, and so the developer isn't called Nicholas Flemmel. That's a pseudonym, but the developer themselves is extremely wealthy, and so they are literally doing this project. They sent the cookies airdrop to like 1 million people. If you look on the addresses on Polyscan, they sent the airdrop to 1 million people. Funnily enough, because
shout out Polyscan though. Shout out to Polyscan, by the way.
I think literally it won't be worth like the gas to probably sell it, but this guy was very keen to try and drive adoption, and so this was what he wanted to do. And he approached. Funnily enough, he got referred by our market makers. That's sort of how we got connected. And he said, I want to set this up. I want to give this back to people, and essentially it's sort for people to stake their cookies and they earn USDC. So you literally get paid stable coins just for buying Cookies Protocol and staking it into this app. And the rewards are literally too good, in my opinion. So the staking rewards are so good that I swear to God, people are not telling people about them. Funnily enough, actually, a guy called Mr. C from Colt, he said, I am very, very tempted to put a Colt proposal in for cookies, but I don't want them diluting my rewards. They're too good. So this is literally like being kept secret because people were earning I think he said he's earning $100 a day in stable coins just for staking his cookies.
Crazy.
Into like that's a huge amount. And so people actually aren't telling people about this due to how good the rewards are, because they don't want people to dilute them. So this is literally an opportunity for anybody watching right now, because they are paying out an extremely good yield in stable coins. You're not just, it's not one of these where you're earning a reward in the token itself and then you've got to sell it if you want to cash in. It's literally stable coins. You can feel no shame about dumping it because it's stables. You can send it to Coinbase, send it to an exchange, and you can cash it out into actual dollars in the bank. So yeah, I think people are keeping this as a literal hidden gem because everyone's trying to keep the rewards for themselves. So definitely check out Cookies Protocol. It's on Polygon. It's also on Ethereum, but if you do want to stake, it has to be on Polygon. The founder is very wealthy. They are literally doing this project, trying to pursue adoption. So yeah, I'd definitely check it out. And yeah, I'm not sure if the link's in the description or anything.
DJ, so first of all, Bernie's our another man from the UK. Actually, really smart technical analysis guy. Told me to get out of cryptocurrency all 2023. Should have listened to him, but I didn't. I bought the dip all the way down. He asked the question of the hour, bruv, and he says, "Is it cookies or biscuits, Dom? Do you like hobnobs?"
Hobnobs are incredible. Do you get them in the US?
No. He's from where you're from.
Hobnobs
I've never heard of them.
Greatest. Hobnobs are incredible.
I heard they're like eating sand, though. I heard they're like eating sand. That's what I heard.
Well, it depends if you're having normal hobnobs, then it's a bit dry. But you have them with a cup of tea, so it's all good. But if you get milk chocolate hobnobs, they are literally like the greatest thing ever. Imagine it's sort of like a flapjack in a biscuit with a bit of chocolate.
God damn. Good. Okay. All right. Well, God. Really and then. Shout out to Bernie. And then DJ says, Dom, you just messed it up for everyone. Now everyone's going to get less rewards because now everyone knows to stake. And I love getting rewards in a stable coin because I got involved in the DAOs a lot during last year because I was a little fiend for them. Olympus DAO, J Protocol, Time Wonderland, which are an interesting experiment in DeFi. But you get rewards in their damn token. So it doesn't matter how much your tokens are at that time because obviously the market dumped and a lot of these DAOs went under or they're still operating, but I can go on a spiel about that. Doesn't mean anything, right? Getting all these rewards, and it's like, yeah, it means stuff if the price goes up, but rewards and stable coins, it's so good for the holder because it's like you pretty much can take profits when you want. You don't have to have some sort of time frame,
Yeah, well, it means that you're not dumping on yourself, as in you don't need to feel the guilt, which you often feel. I mean, we have our slogan at VEMP is compound VEMP, and the reason why is that because inevitably if you earn rewards in a token, we want people to have something to do with that token rather than sell it, because we don't want people to just farm rewards and dump them. So we give them an option and additional things to do with the token so that they don't have that incentive. So people earn rewards from staking Ethereum, for example. They then stake that into our DAO, so they earn VEMP interest on their VEMP interest. And then we have all of our games where they can then also utilize the VEMP there. So it's all about giving people an option other than selling. So that's what you do when you have your own token as rewards. And a lot of these things like Olympus, etc., they literally had such high yields and nothing to do with the token. So people would sell it. But if you're earning stable coins, you can literally enjoy it.
Set it and forget it.
You want.
Set it and forget it. A shout out to Bernie, says bullish as fuck on hobnobs. So I gotta try some. Maybe we could get them here in the U.S. I don't know. We have a lot of Asian import stores where we can go to like a market. We got to get some of that for some of your guys' snacks. So I definitely want to try some because Bernie's. I mean, there was like a huge Twitter thread like a month ago where like Bernie and a bunch of other people were putting memes out about hobnobs. So
they are good. I mean, so Chrissy asked about the Ponzonomics, which is a typical inflationary question. It's a good one to ask whenever you have any sort of token rewards. And I touched on it earlier, so they probably came late into the stream, but we have our tokens locked over 20 years. So you can go onto Unicrypt and you can see, I think the tokens finish unlocking in 2043. So you can literally see the inflation rate is about 5%, and we buy back and burn of our profits. So arguably, we might not even be inflationary at all. So we did think about our Ponzonomics because my background is derivatives trader, then wealth manager, then in VC. So I actually designed it based on real economics. If you can believe it, somebody in crypto actually had foresight.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, in cryptocurrency, you don't really, associate that with, foresight, especially with, 'cause a lot of us are used to like, these products that pop up and then go away, in the span of a couple months. But like we said before, you guys have been kicking for a year and a half, which literally in cryptocurrency, that seems like a lifetime. But Dom, it has been a pleasure to have you on the channel to speak about VEMP, to speak about Colt, and to speak about Cookies Protocol, which we go live at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today over on Twitter. Links to everything is in the description. Links to VEMP, all their links are also in the description. And of course, make sure you follow Dom on Twitter. Links to all his socials are also in the description. Dom, in closing, do you have anything for the degenerates?
Oof. Yeah, I'd say earn yield when you can, especially in this current market. Like, nobody is going to do too much with a lot of people are holding bags, and nobody wants to sell something when it's already down like X amount of percent. Mana Sand, if anyone out there has metaverse tokens, you can still currently earn a yield just by staking them on our platform. You may as well, if they're just in your wallet or on Binance anyway, you might as well earn yield on them. So check out Cookies for stablecoin yield. Check out VEMP for Ethereum, BNB, and any other tokens that you do have. It's just app.vemp.xyz. We even changed the
that's all.
Even changed the website, so it's now vemp.xyz. But yeah, thanks everybody. Great to be here again. Good conversations, good chat. See, I'm going to lose my voice even more now coming off of this.
There it is.
Illness, and then going at it with you and Jay, because leaving me dry throated.
Well, I mean, giving the people a lot of good knowledge, and I liked our little conversation about history, World War II, and those sorts of things, because it's very, very important. Again, Dom, it's a pleasure to have you on the channel. You have a good one. And guys, thank you so much for watching the stream today. Make sure you slap that like button. It helps with the algorithm. And check out all the links I put in the description of this video. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one. Happy Tuesday.
Thanks, everyone.